Austin, can you hear me? So we're gonna scratch that. They're gonna put a laptop down there. The laptop's gonna be connected from the HDMI to the projector. You know what I mean? They're gonna stream it, so they're gonna do it that way. All right. You wanna come out here and help me with the mics?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, can I get some sound over here? Somebody's testing 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Let's see. We're testing. Test.
All right. You would give me the signal when they lay the reef at the end?
Yeah. You got you guys all set up?
Yeah. Is he gonna do the call for us to come out for 5?
How about bringing in the clothes?
Yeah. They right here. We're gonna go the signal.
Good for the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
I just got to give the signal for the reef at the end.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so then we'll follow the program. Okay? Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, that's what I'm talking about.
And the color.
If you can't hear me, raise your hand. That always gets them, doesn't it? Whoa. Well, welcome to the African American Civil War Memorial on this great and wonderful Veterans Day in 2025. My name is Frank Smith, and I'm glad to have you here with us. So thank you very much for coming out. We are going to do something very special here today. And I'm glad you came out to help us do this very special thing. And that is that we have the names of 209,145 soldiers enrolled in these walls here behind us. They're enrolled by regiment in alphabetical order. And so I'm going to ask each of you, if you haven't already received names yet, will you see this young lady right here with a blonde hair and blue eyes and marvelous look about her? She's going to give you some names. And I want everybody to get at least 2 sheets of names right now from her. So can you walk around and give everybody, let's give her a hand out here, somebody. Thomas, can you help Dana with this job? Regina, will you get up, make sure your people who are here get some names? And I want you to get your names now, because we're going to read these names out loud in about 30 or 40 minutes. And I want you to practice while you're sitting at your table, your chair here for us, okay? So let's do that. I know this can be done because we practiced at my church over the weekend. We had about 20 people. We read about 6,000 names in 10 minutes. So we got 20 times 20 times 20 out here today. So we ought to be able to read in a couple of hours all these names. And here's how this is going to work, you all. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to have a presentation by this Veterans Day. So we'll have a presentation by a retired veteran officer who's with us this morning. His name is Sinclair Harris, and Rear Admiral Sinclair Harris was with us this morning. He's going to do a presentation for us. And then when he's finished, we're going to do a couple of things that we do on Memorial Day. And then when that's finished, you're going to do this very special reading of the names. And so I wanted to get that out of the way before we get started. Now we're ready for our program to officially begin. Hey, Dana? Dana, can you get it? Why don't you move back toward the back and do it? So everybody can, right now you're sort of. Yeah.
That's on the microphone real quick.
Oh, cool, that's cool. Cut down on that. Okay. Let's put on my glasses. I know I had them. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So now, so Dana is giving everybody a list of names that you can have. These are your names to keep and take home with you. Show them to your children and your grandchildren. And sometime late at night when you don't have anything else to pray over, you can pray over these names, y'all. These are the people who went out on these battlefields and fought for our freedom and did a great thing to save America. So now we're going to start our program. We will begin with the presentation of colors, and following that, while that's going on, the Star Spangled Banner will be playing.
Detail, halt! Left, heave! Present forward! Order, pull! Right, heave! Order, pull! Then, column wait, pull! Then,
Thank you to the George Mason University 8 Green Machine Regiment Band that's been playing for us this morning. And of course, the 23rd USCT, which presented the colors. Thank you very much. Led by our own soldier, Marquette Milton, who's a soldier of U Street. And he works for us every day. He does us proud. Now we're going to have the invocation. You may have your seat. Please be seated. Now we're going to have the invocation by Reverend Paul Sadler, who's a member of the board of the directors of the African American Civil War Memorial Freedom Foundation. And he's here with us this morning. Reverend Sadler, please bring us a word.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, come on. Good morning. Look at this beautiful day that we have, and we need to make our thanks to the one that made all of this possible. I don't know how you know God, what name you use for God. Doesn't matter. There's only but one God. So this morning, join me in just inviting God into this great celebration. Eternal God Almighty, the creator of all things, the redeemer of this world, we want to say thank you for this another beautiful, beautiful day. We come to say thank you for the African American Civil War Museum and Freedom Foundation here at the memorial where we're celebrating today. We ask you just to be with us for a while. God, we want to thank you. Now, either we know you, we don't know you, we want to keep you or kick you out, doesn't make any difference. The fact of the matter is, we cannot outlive you, and we certainly can't live without you. So we say thank you, God, for this opportunity, for on this day, to celebrate the goodness that you're giving us. We thank you for the African American Civil War Museum, its leader, Dr. Frank Smith, and all that make this possible. We give you praise. This is our prayer today. Now, I want you to be with the speaker, too. My goodness gracious, I know it's going to be exciting. So we thank you for this day. In the name of the risen Savior, we pray. Let us all say amen. Amen. Say amen, and say amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you very much, Reverend. Thank you very much, Reverend. So as part of my welcome, I just want to say a couple of things right quick. First of all, I always on Veterans Day start out by remembering the veterans in my own family. And I always introduce you to my oldest son, who was in the first Gulf War. He was in the 101st Airborne. His son became a Navy SEAL, who's my grandson. And he's serving today in the U.S. Navy. And so I also point out one other thing about the military, which is that in my own personal family, I grew up on a peach plantation in Georgia with no running water and outdoor toilet. The first person in my family to go to college. When I finished high school, after that, everybody had, when they finished high school, had to go somewhere. And those who didn't go to college went to the military. And in case we're keeping record, in many cases, the one who went to the military did better than those of us who went to college. They made more money and they had a more stable life. And so the military for black people has always been, since the Civil War, even a place where we could go and have a life for ourselves and contribute to the country and make a good life for our families. And so I want to share that story with you today because we now stand on the shoulders of these men who are listed behind us, whose names we will call out today. Into the sky is clear, but that means if you talk, if you say them loud enough, it might get all the way up there in the atmosphere somewhere. It float all the way around the world, and everybody might hear these names. Y'all might see what I'm saying. And so you never know what might happen. But if you want a blessing, you have to ask for your blessing. And then when you get your blessing, you have to say thank you. Okay? If you don't, you might lose it. So that's how the way we say thank you to these guys for what they did to make this country what it is today is by reading their names aloud. It's never been done before. And the Guinness Book of Records says this is the largest number of names in the world. So here now we see the largest number of names in the world here with us, and they have and we're going to call them out loud here today. So thank you very much for coming out today. And now I'm going to get on with the rest of the program. So I know everybody's excited about reading these names. So we're going to get on with the program so you can get on with the reading. Here to introduce our speaker is a retired military person herself. And as she comes forward, I want to point out one more thing. There's been probably 40 or 50 people in my family who've been in the military. The highest ranking person in my family in the military today is a woman. A lot of guys been in there. The highest person, that shows you how much the country has changed, right? During the Civil War, they wouldn't even let women in the military. We finally let them in. Now they're outperforming a lot of men, which is exciting. That's why we have to give people an opportunity, because we never know what they can do until you give them a chance. And if you give them a chance, they'll show you what they can do. And somebody who has shown what she could do, not only in the military, after a distinguished military career, she retired, came home, started her own business, and now she's a member of the board of directors of the African American Civil War Memorial. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by the spirit of Frederick Douglass here this morning. Let's everybody give Frederick Douglass a big hand. He came all the way from Kentucky to be here with us today, and you're going to hear from him in a little while. He's going to help us read some of these names. And two of these names on this wall in the 54th Massachusetts were two of his sons who joined the war. Not only did he recruit soldiers to come, but he also put some of his own skin in the game. So you're going to hear from him later. But first we're going to hear from our distinguished board member, Jan Adams, who lives here in the District of Columbia. He works hard to find us a speaker, and she's traveled. She was out of town, but she got back in time for this. Jan, we're happy that you can join us here this morning. Please join me at the microphone and introduce our speaker for the day.
Thank you, Frank. As Frank said, I'm Jan Adams, 24-year Air Force retired Chief Master Sergeant. So thank you all. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Veterans Day at the African American Civil War Memorial. Our scheduled speaker, General Larry Spencer, became ill yesterday, and we wish him a swift recovery. But in true military fashion, Rear Admiral Sinclair Harris stepped in without hesitation, and we are grateful for his willingness to serve today. Rear Admiral Harris is a Washington, D.C. native and a distinguished surface warfare officer who served more than 34 years in the United States Navy. He commanded the USS Comstock, led major strike groups and expeditionary forces, and ultimately served as commander of U.S. Naval Forces Southern Command and the U.S. Fourth Fleet. While in command of his ship as an O5, Nightline featured a segment about African American Civil War sailors, recognizing the significant role they played in the Union Navy. It was a powerful reminder that the history honored at this memorial continues through leaders like him. A patriot, a mentor, and an advocate for service and opportunity, please join me in welcoming Rear Admiral Sinclair Harris, United States Navy, retired.
Thanks so much, Chief. I got a little nervous when I saw this Philadelphia Eagle fan over here step in the room. Yeah, maybe. So what do you do when you get a call about 6 p.m. last night from a friend of mine, Kerwin Miller, and he says, hey, Sink, what are you doing tomorrow? Well, you know what I'm doing. A bunch of us go up to the Veterans Hospital. We hand out gloves and socks. We've been doing that for years. A group of us called the National Naval Law Association here in D.C. And go up and do that. They said, well, I got something else for you to do. I need you to contact Chief Adams. I said, okay. I contact the chief. Hey, Chief, what do you need? Well, I need you to speak. What? You want me to come up with a speech in less than 24 hours before an august group to try to think about the incredible work of these patriots and the ones are not here that served in the Civil War. You want me to do that? Well, what do you do when you're given a task like that? Young people, what do? Show up. You show up. I said young. Younger people, Ask AI. You go to AI. And I did. And AI did help me with a lot of this. I had to feather it in a little bit, so please follow along. So thank you again, Chief. Thank you, Pastor, for the Lord's Prayer. Thank you, Frank. Where did you go to? There you. Thank you, sir, so much for giving me the honor to speak today. Interesting, when I went to AI, the title came back and it was pretty good. A Thread of Courage from the U.S. Colored Troops to today's Black service members. Because that's really kind of my point here, is when you cover what happened from those in the Civil War. And yeah, we know that there were African Americans that served in every war, including the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, and on. But we really don't have good documentation until we get to the Civil War of those contributions. But there's a thread of courage, commitment, honor, faithfulness to country that continues to this day, that started with these men and the women who served during the Civil War. Now, we gather to honor the commitment that transcends a time, a commitment to duty, honor, and country. We look out at the men and women currently serving in the nation's armed forces, and we see courage, professionalism, strength. There are over 350,000 Black African American active duty and selected service members in the military today. Over 350,000. 21% of the Army, 18% of the Navy. That includes the Marine Corps, part of the Navy. The Marine Corps doesn't like saying it, but they are part of the Department of the Navy. Yes, you are. Okay. And of course, the Air Force and Space Force. And we all owe a debt. And 2.4 million Black veterans. We all owe a debt to those who served in Civil War. A debt to the names that you all will call out today. But to truly understand the depth of this dedication, we must look backward. We must trace that thread of courage woven through the fabric of American military history that connects service members of today to the group of patriots who stood on those blood-soaked grounds in the 1860s, the United States Colored Troops that are represented by these gentlemen over here and lady over here. Give them a hand. Now, you know what Mr. Douglas said in his call to arms speech. I won't go over the whole speech, but one snippet stands true. Once you let the Black man get upon his person, the brass buttons, the letters U.S., let him get an eagle on his button and a musket on his shoulder and bullets in his pocket. There is no power on earth or under the earth which can deny that he has earned the right of citizenship in these United States. Thank you, Mr. Douglas. Their story is not a footnote. It is a cornerstone of Black American military experience, a pivotal chapter of the history of our nation's fight for its own soul. The sacrifices that they made were not just the preservation of the Union, but the fundamental redefinition of what the Union meant. Now, we talked a little bit about the 54th Massachusetts Infantry, immortalized at Battery Wagner, who faced into certain death, and their sacrifice proving once and for all that Black men possess the courage and tenacity required for any fight. We remember the siege on Petersburg, where thousands of Black troops comprising significant portions of the Union forces fought valiantly to break the Confederate lines. We remember the actions at Nashville, where they helped crush one of the last major Confederate armies in the West. But let us not forget that Black women also served in the Civil War. They disguised themselves as men so that they could serve. And you see one over there, she's doing it right now. Turn around, lady. There you go. They disguised themselves as men and enlisted in the Civil War. You know, of course, Harriet Tubman. But what about Susie King Taylor, Mary Bowser, Mary and I'm going to mispronounce her name, Torvestery, all of who served as either nurses or spies and the other things, logistics that supported those troops, colored troops and the Union. And we know that the military needs logistics. So it's men and women. Their service was not a gift to the nation. It was a demand for justice. By their actions, by their fidelity to the flag that they had historically oppressed, them, they paid the precious purchase of citizenship and blood. Their sacrifice ensured that the war would not end just with the Union intact, but with slavery abolished. They didn't just win battles, they transformed the legal and moral landscape of America. In 1863, when the U.S. government finally authorized the formation of regiments composed of African-American soldiers, it was a revolution. At first, they were offered less pay than their white counterparts, faced discrimination from within the ranks, contempt from the enemy. If captured, black soldiers faced not the relative safety of a prisoner of war camp, but often summary execution, and tragically occurred like that what tragically occurred at Fort Pillow. Yet hundreds of thousands of men and women, former enslaved or free men from the North, rushed to enlist. They understood the stakes far more deeply than any politician in Washington. For them, the Civil War was not merely a political conflict. It was a fight for freedom itself and the right to be recognized as men, as citizens, and as patriots. They carried rusty muskets, wore ill-fitting uniforms, often received inadequate training, but they possessed something more powerful, an unshakable moral clarity, a desperate desire for self-determination. The Civil War ended, but the struggle for equality in uniform did not. The U.S. colored troops laid the foundation, but the House of Equality was still under construction and tragically often resisted. We see the direct legacy of the U.S. colored troops in the Buffalo Soldiers, regiments of black troops who served with distinction in the western frontier fighting on behalf of a nation that still enforced Jim Crow laws at home. Most of my Coast Guard friends will remember the brothers and sisters who served on the Pea Island Lifesavers, an all-black life-saving crew. In the World Wars, black service members once again answered the call to defend democracy abroad, only to return home and find themselves treated as second-class citizens. They fought in segregated units, often relegated to support roles and forced to endure racism on their own side. Think of the Harlem Hellfighters of World War I. Lent to the French army because the American commanders refused to integrate them. They fought for 191 consecutive days, longer than any American unit, and earned the French forces' highest military honors. Coming into World War II, anybody remember Benjamin O. Davis? First African-American general, broke the colored line, served for over 50 years. Now, of course, you will recall the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II, the famed Red Tails, who battled German fighters in the skies over Europe while battling prejudice on the ground in Alabama. They were proving yet again the competence, courage, and dedication know no color. They became known, this whole campaign of them became known as the Double V campaign. Victory overseas and victory at home. victory over fascism abroad, victory over racism at home, and they were not alone. In the Navy, you remember Dory Miller? We're getting ready to name an aircraft carrier after him. The Golden 13. In the Marine Corps, I had two uncles. One of them was a Mumford Point Marine in the black segregated units that served with distinction in World War II and beyond. You've all seen that movie recently, the 6888, right? Okay, the Central Postal Directory Battalion. My mother was actually in the Women's Army Corps. She came in after the 6888, but she served in the same group. Very proud of her. She was in the Women's Army Corps. She said, I was in the Women's Army Corps. Don't call us whack. I said, okay, yes, ma'am. And, of course, the Coast Guard will recall Charles Walker David, who saved countless numbers of soldiers in Army transport that was torpedoed. World War II heroes who earned Navy and Marine Corps, he wore the Navy Marine Corps medal. It took the moral weight of their continued sacrifice for President Harry S. Truman to finally issue Executive Order 9981 in 1948, formally desegregating the armed forces. It was a massive change, a necessary step, but a step taken only because of century-long persistent bravery of black soldiers demanding their rights through action. The history is not just a narrative of past wrongs. This is a blueprint for the present-day valor. When we look at the black servicemen and women of today, the pilots, the Navy SEALs, the Army Rangers, the officers, enlisted personnel in every branch, in every specialty, we are seeing the full fruition of what the U.S. colored troops remember. Today, black Americans serve in the highest levels of command, leading integrated forces, shaping global policy. You know, I wear the ball cap of my hero, Samuel L. Gravely. He was the first African American to raise the rank of a flag officer in the United States Navy. We have seen leaders such as General Daniel Chappie James, U.S. Air Force. How many Air Force folks have got out here? All right, you remember him. General Colin Powell, United States Army. General Lloyd Austin, United States Army. Admiral Michelle Howard, United States Navy. General C.Q. Brown, United States Air Force. General Frank Peterson, United States Marine Corps. Admiral Earl Brown, United States Coast Guard. All of them owe a debt to those U.S. colored troops and their sacrifices. And then right here in our DMV, right up the road, you've got Admiral J. Paul Reason, who went to McKinley High School here in the district. You've got my other shipmate, Admiral Cecil Haney, Eastern Rambler, two of our 4 African Americans that made 4-star in the Navy. General Larry Spencer, who again hope he recovers from his illness, from Southeast Washington, United States Air Force. General Lester Lyles, United States Air Force. General Kip Ward from Baltimore, U.S. Army. Mike Langley, General Mike Langley, United States Marine Corps. General Johnny Wilson and General Lloyd Fig Newton, United States Air Force. Vice Admiral Manson Brown, U.S. Coast Guard. All of these are senior officers that broke color barriers, that continued that long legacy, that thread of courage. And that's just a very tip top, okay? And then today we've got 2 African Americans serving as 4 stars. Alvin Bull Halsey, Commander U.S. Southern Command, and General Randall Reed, who is commanding U.S. Transportation Command. They continue to break barriers and assume leadership roles that were utterly unimaginable to the men and women who fought in the Civil War. They are no longer fighting solely for the right to be recognized as equals. They are fighting as equals, defending the diverse, pluralistic ideal of America that the U.S. colored troops first struggled to bring into being. The modern black service member stands on the shoulders of the U.S. colored troops, not just inheriting their history, but fulfilling their prophecy. The modern challenges are different. Cyber warfare, global terrorism, complex geopolitical conflict, but the fundamental commitment remains identical: to protect the nation, its ideals, and its people. Their continued service is a testament to the U.S. colored troops' conviction to this country, for all of its ups and downs, warts and all. This country is worth fighting for. This country is worth dying for and worth protecting. The history is not just in there. Okay, sorry. So as we reflect on the sacrifices of those who serve today, let us not forget the price paid by those who served yesterday. The thread remains clear. From the desperation, dedication of the U.S. colored troops who knew that freedom was not given but earned in the field of battle, to the gift of the Buffalo Soldiers, the presence of the Double V veterans, the excellence of the integrated forces of the 21st century. Their combined service is a powerful, ongoing statement about what it means to be an American patriot. It is a statement that says true patriotism is not blind allegiance, but the willingness to fight for the promise of America, even when the promise has been denied to you. So let us commit to honoring their legacy, past and present, not just in words, but in our actions, by continually striving to make this country truly a perfect union for all of the courageous soldiers of the U.S. colored troops that have fought and died to create. Thank you. God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful, wonderful speech for our Veterans Day program for the day 2025. You made it special. Thank you very much, Jan, for finding him and bringing him out to us today. You did a wonderful job. Now, I'm going to do something that most people get killed for, but since I'm standing in front of these soldiers right here, I figured they won't kill me for this. But we have some people here. I'm going to call out a few names. We have a bus that's over here on that side. There's 50 people on this bus from Philadelphia, y'all. Let's welcome them to Redskins territory. Commandos territory. we could use a little bit of their help. We just hit a bump in the road. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. I want to welcome them here with us today. I think that's our largest group. The second largest group came from Rock Island, Illinois. Rock Island is a place up there on the Mississippi River, where the Mississippi River runs east and west. Now, those of us who were in Mississippi, as I was in the Civil Rights Movement, know the Mississippi River flows north and south. And down in the Mississippi Delta, we used to say, when it ain't muddy, it's bloody. Y'all don't know nothing about that, but us civil rights workers, everybody, and that song says everybody knows about Mississippi. I'll leave the rest of it out. Says, so we have a bunch of them here. We also have some students from are they here? I see the adults. Where to stand up? Let's have our Rock Island students from the middle school in Rock Island, Illinois, stand up. They're going to read with us later on today. There they are. Hang in here, y'all. Y'all got to help us read. Thurgood Marshall Center. When I told people I was going to read these 200,000 names out loud, they thought I was going to be like Senator Booker up here by myself reading for 24 hours. I said, no, I got help out here. I know how to get help. My minister used to say, he'd be talking when he'd be looking at the choir stand, the deacon board, everybody say, I need some help. So we got plenty of help out here today, and I'm happy to do this. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. So we have up here 10 microphones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 microphones, and we're going to spread them out a little bit. Mark it. What happened to my sergeant, Marquette Milton? Okay, he's not here. Marquette can get promoted in the morning and demoted in the afternoon. So he's on patrol. He's on patrol. He's supposed to be patrolling. He's supposed to help me read the first USCT regiment. So somebody find it for me. But we're going to spread these mics out just a little bit here. Can you come over and space them out about 3? Make that one on the end right there. Bring them up that way. So here's how we're going to do this, y'all. We're going to do this. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to bring up 4 people at a time at each of these mics. So we have 10 mics up here, right? If I have 4 people at each mic, how many people will I have here? All right. I want to keep 40 people at this mic all the time. So you'll get a sheet of paper. What happened to my sheet of paper, Dana? Dana, come on. The councilwoman has my sheet. She and I are going to read together here. Councilwoman Brianne Nadeau. You need a lot of help to do what I do and a lot of money. And we get the money from the D.C. government, the city council. And the number one money person on the city council for this monument right here is a little short Jewish woman that I had to keep her close to me because when I can't get down there to fight for myself, she'd be down there fighting for me day and night. When she fights for us, that means she's fighting for you. And so I wanted to bring her up to say a few words, just a couple of words of introduction. Come on, you got to say something.
All right. Well, I'm just the money bags here, so no, it's good to be here with you all. And I want to acknowledge that we are well represented by ANC 1B here today, too. Look at all those commissioners back there. Any other ANCs being represented today? Okay. Well,
My spouse is active military.
That's right. I'm very happy to be here today. This is actually my first Veterans Day with an active duty spouse. So he's away now, and it's extra meaningful to our family because he's back in the service. We serve in a number of different ways in our household, in government and in the military. But today we honor those who served for our country when our country wasn't even serving them. And I'm really pleased to be here with you today, Dr. Smith, and I'm grateful for the way that you keep this alive year after year. So thanks for your partnership and for letting me lend a hand from time to time.
Thank you very much. Yeah. All right, thank you, Brianne. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the first USCT. It is supposed to be introduced by Marquette Milton, who represents one of the soldiers in this regiment. Marquette wears his uniform every day. His wife told me one day that he would sleep in his uniform if we let him, but we don't let him do it because we want him to be able to come to work the next day. Marquette's going to join me at that microphone. Take the middle one right there, stand next to Brianne. Okay, now, I want the first 4 brave citizens out here who want to help us read. Come on up here. General, come on up here. Jan, come on up here. Front row.
With Washington, D.C.
That's right. Oh, you're going to read one?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought it was Marquette. Okay, so we don't have 4. What's happening on this side? Thomas, come on up. You got to show everybody how this is done.
Kelly? Yes, we're going to start with Washington, D.C., and then each state.
Yeah. We need 4. We need 4 people. Marquette,
Back up.
somebody come and help Marquette.
Yep. Somebody come beside. Need some backup.
All right, just find yourself a microphone. Stand next to the mic.
Come on.
Your mic's right there.
Thank you, sir.
So somebody join him at that
Stand in
microphone
line.
right there.
Behind me.
Stand in line.
Oh, well.
Other mic here.
Hey, Dana,
Good, how are you?
Okay, so this is the first one.
We got U.S. First Regiment, right?
Yeah.
but you don't hear.
Yep, that's us.
People hear that? If you have DC, get in line.
If you don't have a sheet of paper like this with names on it, hand out all of them.
And then do we go to the back of the line?
No, you're
Okay, everybody should have a list like this. Come on down.
Read all the names.
Find yourself a microphone.
And then
We're
you're
sharing microphones.
charged for the day.
Okay.
Then you
Everybody got a mic?
warm up.
Okay.
Okay, now listen. Okay, everybody listen carefully. We're going to all read at one time. So the 3 of us, one more person up here with me. Oh, Admiral, just come over here with me. I'm gonna stand right here.
I got 8.
All right, so you can see, you see how we're standing here?
Oh,
Okay, so when I start reading on my list, you start reading yours, okay?
One at a time. Stand up.
Everybody ready? Ready. If you're ready, say yes. Yes. If you're ready, say yes. Yes. All right, let's go. General, you need a list. Here,
is mine.
give me one of yours. Okay, so these names are written in very large print for people like me. And they're written in very large print, so we're going to start from the top. So I am ready. It doesn't matter what regiment you have now. If you're up here, read. If you're up here, read whatever list you got, okay? Are we ready?
Ready. Ready up.
Wallace Connors,
James
John
Hall.
Burns. Walter.
Lewis Hall.
John
Reuben Hall.
John
Robert.
Albert
Jesse
Davis.
Hamilton.
Charles
Lee
J.
Hamilton.
Butler.
Wesley
Ben
Hamilton.
Davis.
Don Hamilton.
Charles
Wade Hamilton. Richard Harding. Lewis Harding.
Davis.
Henry Harding.
Nehemiah Davis.
James Harding.
Nelson
Evan
Davis.
Harding.
Robert Davis.
Henry Harding.
Thomas
Charles Harris.
James
Coleman
William
Harris.
Davis.
Edward Harris.
William H. Davis.
Campbell.
Malcolm
Edward
James
J.
Franklin. George Henry.
Albert
James Hay. John Edward Davis.
Robert
William
William
G. William Howe.
Ruben Murray.
David
William Delavan. David George W.
Frank Carter.
William
George
George
Howard
Carter.
James
Samuel
Frederick
Carter.
Devon. Peter Devon.
McCoy.
William
James McCoy.
William
Bernard Casanova.
William
Abraham.
Wallace
Perry.
McCoy.
Robert Grant. William Grant. Anthony Grant. Daniel Grant. Charles Grant.
George Henry William
Henry Grant. Arnold John. Boone Green. Calvin Green. Charles Green. Daniel Green. Evan Green.
Thomas Dotson. Edward Dorsey.
George W.
Silas Dotson.
Samuel Green.
Jacob Douglas. Amos Douglas.
Thomas Bell.
Daniel Douglas.
Baker Hall.
James
George
Douglas.
Baker.
Noah Douglas. William
Peter Paul.
Douglas. Frank
Charles Bell.
Thomas
Paul. William
Robert
Paul.
Pryor.
George
George Drummond.
George
Pius
Banks.
Sutton.
Alexander
James
Banks.
Sutton.
Barnett
Humphrey
Banks.
Duet.
Bradley Banks.
Charles Duff.
Frank Banks.
George Dunmore.
George W. Banks.
Gabriel
Henry W.
Dutcher.
Banks. John Banks.
Thomas
Noel Banks.
Dyson.
Robert Banks.
Randall
William Banks.
Willis
James
Easton.
Barber.
Charles
Washington.
William
Peter Barber.
Alfred
George
Kaya
Howard.
Edwards.
George
William
Murray.
Thomas
Gil Murray. John Nash.
James
Thomas Neal.
Bill Ross.
Bailey.
Moses Nettle.
John Nelson.
Cyrus
Eli
Hill.
Ingram Barrett.
Leonard George.
William B. Barrett.
Edward Nelson.
Thomas Ennis.
Saul Nelson.
Hezekiah Evans. John D.
Robert
Wright. Charles Evans.
Green.
William
Wright.
Doris Green.
H. Wright.
Henry Green.
Louis
James
Thornton.
Daniel
Young.
John
Felton.
Henry
Don Green.
John W. Young.
Wesley Green.
Philip Young. William Young. Jordan B. Noble.
Robert Green.
Samuel
Robert H. Green.
Daniel
Scott Green.
William Rubio.
William Green.
Right
here. Those H.
Green.
Green.
George Oden.
Daniel Greenfield.
John H.
Tim
Austin.
Fraser.
Frank Otto.
Robert
Amos Overall.
Gregory
Isaac
Lennon.
Daniel Webster.
James
John
Green.
Joseph
Baldwin.
Antoine Ball.
Will Green.
Isaac
Robert E.
William Green.
Solomon Parker. William D. Garland. Benjamin Patterson.
Henderson Barnes.
Josiah Patterson.
Abraham
Randy
Gordon.
Patterson.
John Green.
Abraham Carter. Thomas
Carter.
John Baker. Louis Tate.
John Grimble.
William Peet.
Cornelius.
William Batty.
William
Charles
Abraham Felton.
Phillips, Alexander
Cornelius
B.
Pennant, Henry S. Perkins, Jacob
Francis E.
Ryan
Beckford,
Parrish,
Samuel Bedford,
James
I. Bell,
Richard Peterson,
Bell,
J.D. Pettijohn,
Moses
N.J.
Bell,
Pettijohn, Charles
Quentin
Crusoe,
Alec Belford,
James
William
Pearson,
Randolph.
Jeremiah Benfield,
Don Pippin,
David Bennett,
George J. Pollard,
Bentley
David Roberts,
Charles,
Adam Poole,
Thomas
James
Benson,
Posey,
Thomas
Samuel Posey, James A. Moffitt,
Tunzi,
Hillary Powers,
Charles
Peter Price,
Alfonso Ewing,
Alfred
Andrew James
Morgan Brigade,
Henry Everson,
George
Alfonso Ewing,
Joseph Price,
Dennis
Robert Price,
Jackson
Isaac Pryor,
Joseph
Thomas Purdy, Frederick Pine, John H. Queen, Thomas Queen, Don P. Wanda, Don H. Klein, George Smith, Dennis Rain, Horace Rain, Henry Rain, Edward Rain,
Isaac Martin, John Martin, Levi F. Martin.
Okay, can we stop for a minute?
Martin.
Can everybody stop for a minute? Everybody pause for a minute, please.
Elsie Riley.
David Matthews,
William Riley.
John Matthias,
John Rives.
George Stovall,
Yeah,
Charles Jesse,
can everybody pause for a minute?
Anderson Johnson.
Okay, so we are going to, actually, what?
Octavus Swoop. Albert Swoops.
Okay, so you can do
Booker
this.
Swoops.
Okay, so we just finished doing, we started out doing the first USCT, which is the Washington DC Regiment, and we have a description here of that regiment, which we should have read before I started. We're going to do it now because the people who are watching us in the audience won't know what we're doing unless we tell them. This is being live streamed, and they won't know what we're doing unless we tell them what we're doing. So we're going to have the descriptions of these regiments. Starting back, you're going to go back to the DC and do that one first? Yes. So let us finish, do DC, Alabama, and Arkansas.
Okay, so we'll start with Washington, D.C. On July 17th, 1862, Congress lifted the ban on the enlistment of men of African descent into the federal army when President Lincoln signed the Militia Act of 1862. There was one infantry regiment of the United States Colored Troops organized in Washington, D.C., the 1st United States Colored Troops, which was organized from May 19th to June 30th, 1863. The regiment served in North Carolina and Virginia. The Bureau of United States Colored Troops credited the District of Columbia with 3,269 enlistees as of March 1865. And now we're going to talk about Alabama. There were 6 infantry regiments organized in the state of Alabama. They were the 11th New Organization, the 55th, 56th, 106th, 110th, 111th, and the 137th USCT. The Bureau of United States Colored Troops credited the state with 4,969 enlistees. The regiment served in Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee throughout the war. And now we're going to go to Arkansas, and then we'll continue reading the names. Arkansas. There were 7 infantry regiments organized in Arkansas. They were the 11th USCT, old organization, the 54th, 57th, 69th, 112th, and 113th Infantries. The Bureau of United States Colored Troops credited the state with 5,526 enlistees. And now we're going to ask people who have names from Connecticut and Georgia to come forth and read the names, and you all can continue.
Alexander Johnson.
Thomas Henry Sawyer,
Anthony Johnson.
Robert
Benjamin Johnson.
Emmy Robbins.
Charles Johnson.
John Robbins.
Clark Johnson.
Emmy Robbins.
Daniel
All right, but listen, we got to get all this right.
Edward Johnson.
Elijah
George
Roberts.
Charles Floyd.
James
Johnson.
Roberts.
Oscar Fola.
James
Johnson.
A.
Andrew
Roberts.
Ford. John
George Charles.
Johnson. James
Robinson.
Johnson. Joseph Johnson. Leroy Johnson. Louis Johnson. Preston Johnson.
135th.
Mark William James,
Sharber.
Joshua Fowler. Thomas Fowler. Okay. So we need to do the introduction from Connecticut, so if you all could hold for just... Okay, you could...
Israel Jackson.
William Shorter.
Good morning. My name is John Mills. I'm going to do the introduction for Connecticut.
George Hall.
For Connecticut, there were 2 regiments of the United States Colored Troops in Connecticut, the 29th and the 30th Connecticut Colored Infantry. The state was credited with 1,764 enlistees by the Bureau of the United States Colored Troops. The regiment served in Maryland, South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. The 29th was the first Union regiment to enter the capital of the Confederacy of Richmond, Virginia on April 3rd, 1865, and mustered out of service on October 24th, 1865.
Alfred Smith.
Jennifer G. Jenkins.
Joseph Smizer.
John Cartwright.
Frank
Howard
Soppington.
Cole.
Jacob.
Charles.
William Collins.
David Johnson.
Squire
Let's get these
Howard.
microphones here.
Nelson Bragg.
We have mics that are empty. Can we get people up to read? If you have a list of names, come up.
Silas
Abraham
William
Baker.
Joseph Squires.
We still got a bunch of names to read.
Alan Banks.
Henry Stanser. Joseph Stanley. George Stanley.
George Fox.
Okay, come on.
Joseph
Stedman.
William
Austin Steele.
Moses Smith.
Nelson.
Gary Calvin Stevens. Don Stevens. Samuel
Barnett.
George
Alexander Johnson. George Troxton. Calvin Stewart.
Charles Hall.
Jeremiah.
Charles Storm.
Joshua Hall.
William
Charles Garrett.
William
Martin
Stout.
Alonzo Irving, Andrew Estes, James Eubanks, Henry Everson, Alonzo Ewing, Dallas Ewing, Jackson Ewing, James Ewing, Saban Fair, Joseph Faria, Nelson Fawcett, Anthony Ferguson, Edward Ferguson, John Ferguson, Samuel Fair, Edward Fields, James Fields, Lafayette Fields, George Furman, James Fisher, Isaac Fletcher, Charles Floyd, Oscar Foley, Andrew Ford, Anthony Ford, Edward Ford, William Ford, Jefferson Ford, Noah Ford, Richard Ford, Edward Foster, Horace Foster, Charles Fowler, Joshua Fowler, Thomas Fowler, Washington Fowler, Joseph Fox, James Floyd, and Benjamin Franklin.
William Howard. Joseph Hidden.
Henry
Thomas Hyman. Abraham Jackson. Abram Jackson. Howard Jackson.
William H. Jennison, Abram Johnson, Andrew Johnson, Cato Johnson, Charles Johnson, Charles H. Johnson, David Wyatt Robinson, Kerry Robinson, Franklin Roddy, the Burgess Roden, George Rogers, Tony Rogers, Boston Rogers, Philip Rogers, Richard Rogers, Samuel Rogers, Midnight Rogers, Joseph Roebuck, Alfred Rogers, Barnes Rogers, Robert Rogers, Solomon Robinson, James Rome, James Broom, Philip Roseman, Thomas E. Ross, Lewis Russell, the Surgeon, Rotten, Thomas Rowland, John Rubin, Edward Ruffin, Benjamin Russell, Jordan Calvin Russell, Moses Jones, Philip Henry Russell, Miles Russell,
Moses
Thomas
Mason,
Rufin,
Samuel Nash,
Henry Rye,
John Ness,
Tony Sadler,
Benjamin Levine,
Addison Sales,
Harvey
Robert
Nelson,
Sales,
William Nelson,
Isaiah Sample,
Alan Nelson,
Thomas Sampson,
Bernie Nelson, Edward
Handy
Nelson,
Sanders,
George Nelson,
Matt
James
Sanders,
Nelson,
Melinda
Thomas
Sanders,
Nelson,
Arthur Sanders,
Alexander Nelson,
Frederick Sanders,
Edward Nelson, George Nelson, Wyatt Nelson, Luther Nettles, Oni J. Neville, Robert Newland, Lewis Newsom, James Nichols, Peter Robinson, Jackson Nichols, Robert Jackson Nicholson, William Robinson, John Nicholson, William G. George W. Nitty, George Rodess, Charles W. Niles, William Rodman, Thomas Norris, William John W. Rowe, Carter Newton, Edward P. Jeremiah Nunley, John Nunley, Martha Nunley, William Newsham, William Oates,
Isaac
W.
Henry
Johnson,
Ross,
Richard
William
Nathan
Ross,
Odie, Henry
William J.
Wicker
Ross,
O'Giles,
Isaac Rowe,
Patton
James
Odie,
Royce,
F.M.
Lyman
Osborne,
R. Royce,
John
Samuel
Osborne,
A. Ruby,
William H. Bowen.
Cornelius
John
Russell,
Henry Bowen.
Squire N.
Russell,
Osborne,
Ralph
William
Russell,
Owen,
William
Arthur
Russell,
Owen,
Lord
George
M.
W.
Rustin,
Owen,
Anthony
John
Abrams,
Owen,
Sandrine,
Lewis Owen,
George F. Sand,
Jerry
Robert
Owen,
Philip Sand,
Martin Page,
Wallace Sand,
Richard Page,
Jeremiah
Robert
Salisbury,
I want to ask everyone reading names from Georgia to come forward.
George Parker,
Everyone reading names from Georgia,
John
please come
Sawyer,
forward.
Harvey Parker,
Henry Sale,
There were two
David
regiments
Shank,
organized in
Thomas
Georgia.
William
They were the 136th
John
and the 137th U.S. Colored
John
Infantry.
Parnell,
The Bureau of the United States Colored Troops credited Georgia with 3,486 enlistees. Both regiments served in Georgia and Alabama.
Frank Pascal,
Leongo
Henry
J.
Pascal,
Charles Seeley,
John J.
W.
Patterson,
Seymour,
James
Horace Seymour,
Patterson,
James
Stephen
Seymour,
Patton,
Lloyd
If those in the audience
Benjamin
reading the
Patterson,
regiments from
George
Illinois,
Patterson,
please come
Henry
forward.
Patty,
Shepard,
Wealthy
William
Patty,
Shepard,
Edgar
Warren
Warren Pauls,
William
Coleman
Ed
Payne,
Sidney, William Henry Sillick, S.W. Hannibal J.G. Silliman, Joseph K. Sills,
Right.
Robert Sills,
John
L. Jones,
Needham Simmons,
Levi Jones,
Tallman Simmons,
Major Jones,
Virgil Simmons,
Robert Jones,
George
Illinois.
Simon,
Sherman Jones,
There was
Simon,
one regiment
Sterling
organized
Samuel
in the
Simon,
state of
Abraham
Illinois.
J. Simpson,
The 29th
William
U.S.
Sinclair,
Colored Infantry
Mitchell
was
Jordan,
organized
John
in
Sipple,
Quincy,
Richard
Illinois
Joseph
in
Sires,
April
Green King,
Peter H.
1864.
Cisco,
King,
The regiment served in
Smalley,
Washington,
Adam
D.C.,
Smith,
Stephen Kennebore,
Virginia,
Smith,
and Texas.
Edmund Kirk,
Daniel
29th U.S.
Daniel W.
CT was
Smith,
mustered out of
David
service
Smith.
in November 1865. The Bureau of USCT credited Illinois with 1,811 enlistees as of March 1865. Is anyone in the audience from Indiana reading the names of troops from Indiana? Please come forward. There was one regiment organized in the state of Indiana. The 28th USCT was organized in Indianapolis from December 1863 to March 1865. The regiment served in Virginia and Texas. It participated in the capture and occupation of Richmond on April 3rd, 1865. The 28th USCT was mustered out of service in November 1865. The Bureau of the United States Colored Troops credited Indiana with 1,537 enlistees as of March 1865. If there's anyone in the audience reading the regiments or troops from Iowa, please come forward. There was one regiment organized in the state of Iowa. The 60th USCT was organized from the 1st Iowa Infantry, African descent, in March 1864. The regiment served in Arkansas. The 60th U.S. Colored Infantry was mustered out of service in November 1865. The Bureau of the United States Colored Troops credited Iowa with 440 enlistees as of March 1865.
Samuel Franklin, Weston Frattis, John Frederick, Peter Bugate, John Bugate, Abraham Ferguson, Watson Fulcher, Joseph Fulcher, Madison Fulcher, George Gaines, Garrett Galloway, George Garnett, John Gadd, Robert Gaston, Preston Gates, Richard Gates, Levi Gaither, William Getterson, George Gibbs, Dennis Gibney, Augustus Gibson, Charles Gibson, Hardin Giddings, Samuel Gilbert, Noah Giles, John Gilliam, John Gensley, Louis Gibbons, Scott Glass, Richard Glendy, Solomon Godfrey, Hayden Golden, Carl Good, William Turner Good, Alexander Gordon, Horace Gordon, John Henry Gordon, Lewis Gordon, and Marshall Gordon.
Clarence Archie Ewing, George Ewing, James Ewing, John Benson, Thomas Benson, Columbus Ferdinand, Henry Ferguson, Nimrod Ferguson, George Furman, Enoch Sylvester,
William Taylor,
David G. Dick, Jacob Fielding, Charles Field, David Field, Henry Field, Miller Fife, John Fish, John Field,
Charles McQueen, James Harris,
Thomas Spencer, Amos Fisher, Charles Fisher, Enoch Fisher, Miller Fife, Robert Fletcher, William Flint, William H. Flint, Anthony Flowers, Cato Flowers, Anthony Foggy, William Foggy, Jacob Ford, Harry Ford, John Ford, Charles Foreman, Thomas Thornton, Daniel Foster, Edward Foster, Isaac Foster, Henry Fountain, Robert Fox.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can everybody pause for a minute? Can we everybody pause for a minute? We have to do things, what they would say on commercial TV is every once in a while we have to do a commercial just to make sure we pay our bills. So we don't have to do commercials right here, but I do want to do something special. We have the spirit of Frederick Douglass here with us. His timer is going off, so it must be time for his afternoon nap. But before he takes his, he's only 169 years old. Before he takes his afternoon nap, I'm going to call the spirit of Frederick Douglass up, because Frederick Douglass was a recruiter for the United States government during the Civil War. He recruited at least 2 regiments from the state of Massachusetts. One of those regiments had 2 of his sons in it, the Massachusetts 54th. You all know this from the movie Glory. And so I'm going to ask him to come up. And Kevin Douglas Green, who is one of the great-great-grandsons of Frederick Douglass's son, is here with us. I'm going to ask the 2 of them to come where this microphone is, right here. And then I'm going to call up my favorite U Street partner in crime, Mrs. Virginia Ali, who owns Ben's Chili Bowl. Those of you who were here last night heard a great presentation about a book that Bernard Dimchek did about her. So we're going to ask her to come up just to stand for a minute. I know she's been in the hospital recently, and she came out here, you all, to honor us all. She's the spirit of U Street. Her business is one of the oldest businesses on this street, and she's really a gem. I don't know what else to say about her. As long as she keeps going, I keep going. And so we love her up here on the street. So let's let her say a few words first, and then we'll let her sit down, because she's not quite as old as Frederick Douglass is. But say a few words to us.
And don't we all love Frederick Douglass? Oh my goodness!
Talk to the mic.
He did so much for our country, for our people. Oh my goodness! I'm so proud to be here and to honor our wonderful veterans on this very special Veterans Day. It really warms my heart to see so many of you here, to call the names and to let them know we remember them. And Frank, I want to thank you for that as well. So, and I'm happy and delighted to be here, everybody.
All right, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Peter,
thank you.
Thank you for bringing her out.
And I love you.
Let's give her a big hand, y'all. We built this monument for 2 reasons. One was to pay tribute to these soldiers. The other purpose was to contribute to the revitalization of U Street. And Ben's Chili Bowl is our model for how you do this, y'all. This is a family-owned business. They own businesses now at the airport and other places up here. It's all because of this lady right here, her spirit and her great leadership. We love you, sister. Glad to have you out here with us.
Thank you for being here. Thank
Okay.
you.
Now the spirit of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, our leader, he came all the way, you all. He drove all the way from Kentucky, to be here with us today. So say a few words to him.
I am going to honor you with a reading that I did at Arlington Cemetery many, many years ago. Tarry here for a moment. My words shall be few and simple. The solemn rites of this hour and place calls for no tempered speech. There is in the very air of this resting ground of the unknown dead a solemn, touching, impressive, and thrilling life, more than any has ever known. Dark and sad will be the hour when our nation fails to pay respect to the grateful, honest, and greatest of all benefactors. We must never forget the men that gave their lives, that we might be free. Today we have a nation not cursed by the held-back black system of human bondage. We have a nation where the Star-Spangled Banner floats only over free Americans in every part of this land. And we must never take for granted the freedom that we have today or the price that was paid for that freedom. We must never forget those who gave their all in order that we might have our all. I thank you so much for coming out and supporting this grand event, that those names on this wall will never be forgotten. What they did for us would never be forgotten. God bless them, and God bless America. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
So now we've heard from the spirit of Frederick Douglass, and now we are going to hear. Could you bring our kids down from Marquette? Bring the kids down for. I want them to get a picture of him with Fred. What is this? So now that we've heard from the kids, from the spirit of Frederick Douglass, I want to introduce you to one of Frederick Douglass's blood relatives. This is Kevin Douglas Green, who is the great-great-grandson of Frederick Douglass himself. His great-grandfather was recruited by Frederick Douglass to be in the Union Army, and after the war was over, he lived here in this area, by the way, on U Street. Probably would have gone to Ben's if it had been here by then. Lived here on U Street, and played baseball here at the place where Howard Hospital is now. But we're honored to have him here with us today because as we read these names, we lift them up from these walls, but as we also are able today to present a blood relative of his who's here. And while I'm doing this, we also have a blood relative of of our First Lady, is she still here? Tina?
Tina's right there.
Tina, okay. So we have a blood relative of Harriet Tubman, who's also here with us today. I want you to come down front to say a few words. This is a blood relative of Harriet Tubman, who's been with us today, and I want her to get some recognition while she's here. And so first I'm going to ask Kevin Douglas Green to say a few words to this audience that's here, and then I'm going to ask her to, because she's related, I'm sure she'll tell you what our relations is to her soldier. So let's do first Kevin Douglas Green, and then we'll do Tina Wyatt, who's our Harriet Tubman person.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is an honor to be here. I am the great-great-grandson of Frederick and Anna Murray Douglass. Frederick Douglass, instrumental in getting black troops to be able to join and fight in the Civil War for their own freedom. I'm the great-grandson of Charles Douglass and my uncle Lewis Douglass, who also fought in the Civil War, initially joining with the 54th Massachusetts. I'm also the son of a retired veteran, Robert Green. I am a retired Sergeant First Class Army. My wife, Patricia Green, was also a member of the United States Army. So I'm proud to be standing in front of this monument alongside all of you, all of us other descendants of veterans, for those who know you are and for those who don't know that you are, because I know there's some out there that don't know. All you have to do is just take the time to find out. It's a lovely day. Don't let the cold scare you. And let's just be blessed that we are able to be here to do this honor to our ancestors. And I will now pass my time on to this lovely lady here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am here to represent Aunt Harriet, as I call her. Oh, I'm sorry. I am here to represent my Aunt Harriet. I am 3 times great-grandniece of Harriet Ross Tubman Davis. I am here to represent and make sure to change the narrative of what she did in the Civil War and why she did it. Not many people are aware of that. She was a foot soldier. She was a spy and a scout. She was also a nurse. She was also a pharmacist, or a person who did healing and making medicines. But her primary role was to come by the behest of Governor John Andrews of Massachusetts to be a spy and a scout for the Union government, because of her role and her ability to hide in plain sight, to be able to lead people as she did on the Underground Railroad. So when she was in the Civil War, she did those things. Plus, she did a great job in leading the Scouts, 9 of them. And as Kevin was talking about his family, one of the children of Frederick Douglass saw Aunt Harriet on the battlefield, telling his wife, wrote a letter to her, "Guess who I saw down here leading a gang of scouts? Harriet Tubman." So I want to make sure that people know that even though she wasn't a formal United States colored troop, because you could not have women in the military, she has now received her due last year and under a commission by Governor Wes Moore and the National Guard of Brigadier General. She was the first woman to lead a raid for the Union, and she led that raid on the Combahee River. So it was her purpose, first, to be able to free the enslaved. Secondly, she wanted to preserve democracy, because you can't have democracy when you have slavery. So as she told Lincoln, she said, I want him to know, you see a snake and it bites you, you call for the doctor and it's over there again and it comes back and it bites you again. And she was saying to him, you gotta not play with slavery, you gotta cut it out. So that is what I want everyone to know about her role in the Civil War. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going to do something that I have to do also. We have a number of people in the audience who work with me on something called a Committee of 100, the Director's Circle of 100. And they work hard, they work tirelessly day and night. They also contribute a lot of money to the African American Civil War Memorial Freedom Foundation, which helps us to keep going. And I want to say a special thank you to them. So now I'm going to ask all of the members of the Committee of 100 to join me here so everybody can see you. Please join me on the stage here now. I see Walter Allen, my good friend back there, and I see Yvette Wolf, and I see Robert Bell. You always running up here. I see Nicole Sims, the chairman of our board. The chairman of our board, who's standing right here next to me now, my good friend Frank Wiles. There's two Franks in D.C., one big Frank and one little Frank, one rich Frank. That's a rich Frank right there. Well, let's ask Ms. Ali to join us for a minute so you can somebody make this photograph for me. Did we miss anybody on the Committee of 100 that's out in the audience? Now, a few minutes ago, Bill Dickinson, who's down on that, is he down on that end? Yeah, a few minutes ago, Bill Dickinson introduced me to somebody who is a descendant of Abraham Lincoln. Is she still here? He's right here. No. Bill, is she still here? Mrs. Lincoln.
I don't know if she's still here or not.
Okay. Well, we said hello to her. We're going to get her back for the blessing of this. Now, does anybody up here got a list of names? Everybody got a list? Yes. Everybody read already? Yes. Everybody read already, okay. So I just wanted you to meet these people right here because they're the engine that keep this going. When I get tired and sleepy and can't go anymore, I think about them and they give me more energy. So now we're going to thank you all very much for coming up. We have some people in the audience who have not read. Anybody out there got a list of names they haven't read?
Right here.
Will you please come up here? Everybody's got a list of names you haven't read. I saw Professor Greg Carr from Howard University. He's our partner in the Reverend Carr, Professor Carr, Greg Carr. Did he get it? Come on up here. Do we have any more names out there?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody got names?
Yes.
Okay, everybody got names? Oh, you got more names.
I know, I'm in Illinois.
Just give everybody a...
Get my phone. Get right there. Oh, thank you. Oh,
Hey, okay.
Larry Ham from New Jersey.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I was on
Yeah, you on the
radio
radio with me? Oh, Lord have mercy. Come on here, let's get you some names right there.
That's what I need.
Okay. Everybody should have a list.
Yeah, but I read it.
Do we start?
Okay, everybody, those people over there, have y'all read already?
Ready?
Here, let's give her a hand.
Need more readers.
Here, Marquette, help her, will you?
You want to
See those people over there? Just whatever names are in there left. Hey, give them whatever is left. Marquette, give those people names over there. Hey, you guys got to get... Hey, listen.
Hello.
You get out of the...
Get in line.
Okay, everybody should have some names by now. We're getting ready to wrap this baby up. We're getting down to the last. Those people who are sitting out there in the audience, if you have not read names, will you get a list down? Greg Carr. Come on, Greg. Hey, Larry, come on. Where's your list? Larry, get the names out of there. Greg. Come on. Hey, Yvonne. Help me out. So let's give him a list.
He said Kentucky.
Okay.
Did you read that? Oh.
I don't think.
Oh, well, let's do Kentucky then. You got it?
Is this not?
Yeah, I got him, but wait. Don't drink coffee? Well, you better bring him up here now because we're getting ready to wrap this baby up.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we need to help out Kentucky. We got the Kentucky students up here already. And we you don't bring the names up. Just hold on a second. Oh, somebody's ATM card. Okay. Wesley Delalola. Wesley Delalola, you have left a ATM card up here someplace, so everybody.
Put it inside.
We'll put it inside the.
Are you Wesley? Wesley? You Wesley?
Oh, there he is, right there. You lucky we didn't fly to Paris on your. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of this. We got one more regiment left, and we're going to do that with our young people that we brought up here, and with everybody. I don't know where. Okay, so we're going to start reading, and as we read the names that we have now, if there are more names while we're the last of it, y'all. So if any more names are left, we got to read all of them. All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. Start us
Thomas
off.
Taylor.
Fred Simon.
Noel Taylor.
George.
Fred Temple.
Maryland.
Buck Terry.
Henry Banks.
Theophilus Terry.
Solomon Banks. Thornton Banks.
Lloyd Taylor. George William
Okay, Samuel Barber. Andrew Barber.
Moses Thomas.
William Pate. George Baxter. William Baymont. Frank Beckett. Charles Bell. Charles George Bell. Henry Bell. John Bell. Washington Bell. George Benjamin. Albert Bennett. Moses Benson.
William Thompson.
John Bernard. Benjamin Barry. Harvard Berry. Jackson Briggs. Redmond Bixby. George Black. William Plather. Benjamin Barry. Alexander Burgett. Moses Benson. And John Bell.
Todd Henry. Robert Todd. Thomas Trill. James Strayman. Solomon Tribute. Jesse Troutman. Martin Tucker. And James Valentine.
Sheldon Hobbs, John Hodges, Daniel Hodges, Richard Hodges, David Hodges, Jerry Hogan, Charles Holder, Will Holly, Charles Holmes, Levi Hopkins, Jess Hopkins, Henry Ford, George Howard, John Howard, William Howe, Bob Howe, Love Hughes, Alfred Hughes, Henry Hughes, Jordan Hughes, Charles Hudson, Jim Hunter, Joseph Ingram, Thomas Jack, John Jack, Sunville Jackman, Parker Jackman, Warner Jackson, Dennis Jackson, Alfred Jackson, Isaac James, Jarvis Henry Green,
Come on,
Isha Green, James Green, John Green, John Starler,
Simon Estes, John Eubanks, Evan Solomon, Robert Ewing, Jesse Green, George Hughes, Bob Ewing,
Thomas Roberts,
John Roberts, Peter Ferris,
Lee Roberts,
Chadwell Gregory, Robert Gregory, Louis Gray, Ruben Ross Gray,
Jacob
Charles H. Kelly, Joseph Young, Levi Gray, Albert Stout, Stanbury Griffin, Nelson Matthew Griffin, Thomas Griffin, Joel W. Edward Cross, Benjamin D. Slattery, Ian A. Ross, Nathaniel Gross, John Timothy A. Gard, John Gwynn, John Jackson, Robert Catlin, John Taylor, Ford W. Joseph Taylor, Noah Taylor, Solomon Taylor, Don Taylor, Thornton Taylor, Edward Manuel Taylor, George H. Hall, John H. C. Hall, Levi Hall, Rodney Cosby,
Henry Cotton, John Cook,
David H. Cooper, George Cooper, Marshall Hammond,
Henry Cooper,
Robert
William Cooper, William Isaac Cooper, Madison Corbin, Scott Covert, Charles Cox, Edmund Cox,
Robert
William Floyd,
Archie Wimmer, Alan Cover, James Cox, William Cox, George Cox, Jacob Cox, Samuel Craig, Logan Craig, Joseph
John
Craig,
W. Carter,
Samuel Crenshaw, Edmund Croom, George Crosby, Thomas Cunningham,
Charles Cunningham,
Vic Kirby, Edward Curry,
George W. Cunningham, Dylan Dixon,
Samuel Kirtley,
Polk Dallas,
Kirshenberry,
John Daniel,
Timothy Darcy,
Robert Daniel,
Frank Davis, James Davis,
Robert Daniel,
Charles Davis, John Davis, Simon Davis, Henry
Roger
Davis,
Jackson,
John
Henry Davenport,
Hedson Davis,
Charles Davis,
Felix Santini, Arthur Sargo, Edward Saucier,
John W. Davis,
John Buford,
John Dawson,
Henry Burgess,
Frank Day,
Marion Burns, Henry Burnside, Charles Burris, Gus Burryhill, Alfred Burton, Peter Burke, Washington Bush, Emmanuel Bushell, John Bushell, Franklin Butler,
Charles Cunningham,
George Butler, Joshua Bayless,
Dallas,
Jordan Byman, Richard Bynham,
Henry Davenport,
Cadet, John Catlett, Harry Calloway, Henry Caldwell, Jones Caldwell, Joseph Caldwell, Sasha Caldwell, Cornelius Calhoun, Nelson Calloway, Henry Calloway, Nelson Calloway, James Kavanaugh, Henry Caldwell, John Campbell, George Campbell, George R. Campbell, Jacob Campbell, James Henry, John Campbell, Milford Campbell, Wesley Campbell, Henry Canada, Lawrence Canada, Lawrence Kennedy, Jack Canada, Joseph Cannon, Lee Cannon, Matt Cannon, Solomon Cannon, Wesley Cannon, William Cannon,
Monroe
James
Fouché,
Cannon, Jesse
Corey
Cannon,
Anscombe,
Keen Cannon,
Nathan Shirley,
George Carey, Daniel
Durham,
Carlock,
Isaac
Marcus
Burton,
Carmack, Gilbert Carmack,
Darby,
John Carmack,
Isaac
Miles
Fitch,
Carmack, Peter
Martin
Carmack,
Tucker,
Samuel Carmack,
John McDaniel,
George Carmichael, James
William
Carpenter,
Rickett,
Benjamin Carr,
English,
Ephraim Carr,
Harvey Barber,
William Carr,
Harvey
Zachariah
Ebel,
Carr, Frank Carson,
Hotel,
Joseph Carson, Rawson Carson, Asa Carter, John Carter, Jordan Carter,
George
Daniel
Spillman,
Cass, Alexander
Bell,
Kessel, Albert
Samuel
Cates,
Verdeen,
Jeffrey Cates,
George
John
Campbell,
Cates, Joshua
Alfred Miller,
Cates, Nelson
Cyrus
Cates,
Titchener,
Harold Cates,
Samuel
Tony
Carr,
Cates, Alfred Catlett,
Henderson
Jesse
Beekman,
Catlett, George Paulson, James Connell,
Lewis Martin,
Wiley Center,
Lee
Albert
Rogers,
Chandler,
Levi
Anderson
Jackson,
Chandler, Clay
George
Chandler,
Kelly,
Henry Chandler, Isaac Chandler, Joseph Chandler, Madison Chandler, Nathan Chandler, Simon Chandler, Henry Chapman, Thomas Chapman, Albert Charles, Calvin Carlton, Isaac Carlton, Green Chapman, Putnam Child, Coffee Child, Jason Choke, John Choke, Samuel Choke, Horace Clay, Roy Clapp, Alexander Clark, Henry Clark, Hudson Clark, James Clark, John Clark, Joseph Clark, Samuel Clark, Thomas Clark, Washington Clark, Wally Clark, Alice Clark, William Clark, Virgil Clarkson, J.B. Charles, Franklin Clay, Henry Clay, William Clay, Abraham Clegg, Charles A. Clegg, Hiram Clegg, Philip Clegg,
Andrew Mayfield, who is Rex Calvin May, Henry Ratcliffe, Richfield May, Traeger May, Thomas McAdams,
Ben McCoy, Jacob McCoy, Samuel McCrew, Henderson McDonald, John McDonald, William McDonald, Nathan McElhaney, Anson McFarland, James McGee, William McGee, Hamilton McGill, William McGill, Alfred McGowan, Alex Silas McIntosh, Nathaniel McCoy, Julius Lamb, Washington McLaren, Nathan M. McLaughlin, Henry Lewis McLean, Edwin T. McMurphy, Eugene McRice, George Meckin, William P. Melton,
Peter Green,
French Menelefi, Richmond Mendenhall, Frederick Merritt, Robert Dickens, William Miffin, John Miles, William Miles, Christian Miller, James A. Miller, John Miller, Philip Miller, Samuel Miller, Thomas C. Miller, Boone Milton, Daniel I. Minor, Eli Minton, Daniel Mitchell, Alan Mitchell, Charles Mitchell, George Mitchell,
Everett Hamilton, Martin Hamilton, Prince Hamilton,
James Mitchell, Matthew R. Mitchell, Charles Movies, Thomas Moline, Moses Monday, John A. Mon,
Daniel Carr,
Amos A. Monty, David Moody,
Jacob
John Moody,
Jesse O.
Charles Moore,
Joseph Carr,
Henry Moore,
Oliver Carr,
James
Robert
Moore,
Carr,
Jesse Moore,
Carr,
Hamilton Moore,
Waldo
Jeremiah Moore,
Franklin
John Moore, Robert Moore,
William
Moore,
Moses
Willis Moore, William Moorhead, Archibald Morgan, Benjamin Morgan, William Morgan, John A. Morris, Charles Morris, Finlay Morris, Jeremiah Morris, James Morrison, Sidney Morris, Wilson T. Morton, Preston Mosby, Preston Mosley, Joseph Moulton, Thomas Milan, Robert Moulton, Amos A. Mounty, Wallace Morning, William Mumford, Isaac Munson, William Munson, Daniel Murphy, John Murphy, Randolph Myers,
Edwin Cox, Henry Cox, Isaac Cox, John Cox, Martin Van Buren Cox, Reuben Cox, Samuel Elijah Cox, Charles Coleman, James Craig, Edward Coleman, Thomas Craig, Nathan Coleman, Henry Armstead Gabriel Chris, Hiram Collins, Robert Collins,
James Elliott, Henry Ellis, Walter Ellsworth, Richard Eli,
George Collins,
Emerson, Henry Emerald, Peter Itton, Booker Evans, Blake W. Evans, George Evans, Samuel Washington Evans, John Fairfax,
Augustus Cook,
John
Benjamin
John
Cook,
Farrell,
Hezekiah Cook, John Cook, Joseph Cook, Preston Cook, Henry Cooksey, Addison Cooper,
Andrew Cooper, Henry Cooper, James Cooper, John Cooper, William Cormick, Isaac Cornish, William I. Cornish, Clinton Costa, John Cotter, Jerry Council, Joseph Covington, Nathaniel Covington, George Cox, John Cox, William Cox, Raleigh Craig, William Crampton, George Crank, Henry Crasson, Thomas Crasson, Joseph Craven, George Crawford, George W. Crawford, Henry Crawford, Robert Crawford, Thomas Crawford, James Krieger, Peter Pritchard, Samuel Cromwell, James Cross, Jackson Crow, Frank Crown, Alicia Crump, Lewis Cummins, Benjamin Cunningham, George W. Cunningham, Nathan Cunningham, Henry Curry, Joshua Curry, Simeon Percy, James Cousin, Edward Dabney, John Dade, Newton Dade, William Dade, George Dias, Elkanus Daniel, Henry Daniel, Simon Daniel, William Daniel, Andrew Davis, Charles Davis, Clifton Davis, Frank Davis, George Davis, James Davis, John Davis, Joseph Davis, Levi Davis, Lewis Davis, Peyton Davis, Prince A. Davis, George Davison, Peter Dawson, Solomon Dawson, Harvey Day, Henry Day, John Day, Miles Day, William S. Day,
John Morse,
Charles Bett, David Delaney, Minos Delaney, Peter Delaney, Benjamin Delby, George Dempsey, James H. Dempsey, Samuel Derrickson, Harry Desha,
John Mowbray,
Ambrose Dixon, Burden Dixon,
Peter S. Monroe,
George Ditto, Burr Dixon, Charles Dixon, James Dixon, John Dixon, Samuel Dixon, Sidney Dixon, Thomas Dyson, Joseph Dobbins, Lorenzo Doyle,
George J. Osborne,
Alexander Dolby, Sandra
William Nutt,
Donald,
Jackson,
George Dorsey, Henry Dorsey, James Dorsey, Louis B. Dorsey, Richard Dorsey, William Dorsey, Arthur Douglas, Charles E. Douglas,
Solomon,
Frisbee H. Douglas,
John M.
George
Myers,
Douglas,
Robert Fields,
John Douglas, Roland Douglas, George Douglas, Henry Dowan,
Robert Newsom,
Samuel Drake, Vincent Duckett, Samuel
William
A. Duggart, John Dummer,
Albert Sturrow,
or Dumont,
Charles Osborne,
James Duncan,
Robert Jenkins, John J. Alfred Johnson, Alvin R. Johnson, William A. Johnson, Alfred Alfred Johnson, Green Johnson, Henry Johnson, James Johnson, Joe Johnson, Joseph Johnson, Lance Johnson, Robert Johnson, Rufus Johnson,
John R. Chestnut, Charles Chin, Isham Christman,
Frank Jones, James Jones,
Albert Johnson, Charles Johnson, Anthony Johnson,
Joseph Jones, Cyrus Jones, Paul Jones, Samuel Jones,
David Miles, Benjamin Miller, Alexander Jones, James Miller, John Miller, Peter Miller, Thomas Wilson, Charles Mills, Henry Mitchell, Isaac Mitchell, James Mitchell, Simon Mitchell, William Mitchell, Louis Lizette, Henry Moody, Manuel Moore, Al Moore, George W. Moore, Don Moore, Philip Moore, Samuel Moore, Thomas Elijah, Robert Moran, Haley Jones,
Andrew Needham,
Philip Moore,
Gabriel Nelson, George Murray, Richard E. Murray, James R. Murray, Charles F. Muddle, Frank Myers,
Richard Kennedy,
John M. Myers,
Warner Kennedy,
Robert Neal,
Alexander P. Ketchum, Joseph Kettle, Ellis
William
King,
Mortimer, Benjamin
Peter
Morton,
King,
Daniel
Tippo
Morton,
King,
William Morton,
Solomon
Aaron
Kirk,
Mosley, John
Charles
Boyd,
Kirkland,
Godfrey Boyd,
Jacob
Alexander
Kidd,
H. Mulligan,
Hobart Kidd,
Lawrence Monroe,
Samuel Knight,
William Murphy,
Solomon
Robert
Hoop,
Murray, William Murray,
Abraham
Nelson
Ladd,
Happer,
Frank
Jack
Ladd,
Key, Benjamin
George
Nelson,
Stephen
Nephew
Ladd,
Nelson,
Alex
Harry Neville,
Chastain,
Charles Newton,
George
Morris
Davis,
Newton,
Michael Milgrutter, Mike
Alex
McCray,
Ladd,
George F. McKay,
Ladd,
Archie McKinney,
John
Tony
George
Norton,
Ladd,
Jesse
Gabriel
Oliver, Louis Oliver,
George
Isaac
Andrew
Osborne,
Jacob,
Andrew Berry,
Sylvester
Daniel Berry,
Robert Owen, John Baggett,
Alfred
Miles
Lass,
Harris,
Nicholas Berry,
Prince
Thomas
Parker,
Lass,
Solomon
Bias,
Parker,
Abraham
Thomas
Lass,
Parker,
Bird,
John
Titus
Parsons,
Longberg,
Simon Parsons,
Daniel Long,
Edward Patrick,
Patrick Miles,
Edward
Black,
Peacock,
Edward
Nero
Miller,
Peacock,
Elmer Miller,
Green Pennyman,
Jason Miller,
Abraham
Lyle
Peacock,
Miller, William Miller,
Edward Lord,
Nelson Mills, Levi A. Minor, Thomas Minor, James Miller, Earl Michelle, Charles L. Michelle, George Michelle, Harrison Mitchell,
John
Harry
Harris,
Mitchell,
William Bowden,
William Muller,
Robert
Lloyd,
John W. Montgomery, Charles Moore,
John Boyd,
George H. Moore,
Isaiah Boyd,
John Malloy, John H. Moore,
Pleasant Preston, Robert Preston, Samuel Preston, Winston Preston, Samuel
Frank J. Manning,
John Adams, King Adams, Lewis Adams, Richard Adams, Williams Adams,
Waterman, Caesar Radish,
Marshall,
Henry Radish,
Romeo Marshall,
Benjamin
Benjamin
Radish,
Martin,
Caesar
John
Radish,
Martin,
Gilliam
Lawrence
Radish,
Martin,
Reese Rainey,
William Martin,
Rainey, Samuel Rainey,
Nation,
Amos
Louis
Rand,
Nelson, Ness Shaw,
Richard Rainey,
Slim
James
Mattingly,
Rankin,
William
Joseph
Knight,
Rand, Edward
Ken
Wallace, Rex Hall Ray, Andrew Fraser, Extent Ray, Extent Ray,
Ken
William Reddish,
George
Henry
Alexander,
Raymond Reed,
George Henry McBride,
Western H. Moore,
Gaylor McCall,
William Moreland, Alexander Morgan, Charles H. Morgan,
Raymond Reed, William Riley,
Jackson Monroe,
Henry
Alexander Allen, John Morgan,
Raymond
Henry Morris,
Lazarus Price,
William
Dick Richards, Bullock Richards, Dick Richards, Edmund Richardson, Jerry Richardson,
Roman
Robert
McFarland,
Ridley,
Nero
Peter
McFarland,
Riley,
Robert
Charles
McFarland,
Charles
William
Harvard,
McPhee,
Andrew Reiser,
Sidney
George
McGill,
Reiser, Robert
Daniel
Robbins,
Montgomery,
Frank Roberts, Alfred
George
Roberts,
Charles
Alex
Anderson,
Roberts,
George Anderson,
Ephraim
James
Roberts,
Derek Cox,
Frank Roberts,
James Anderson,
Henry
Doug
Roberts,
Simon,
Matt Roberts,
John
Raymond Roberts, Solomon Roberts, Benito Roberts, Ian Roberts, William Roberts, Edward Robertson, John Roberts, Richard
Charles Wesley,
Thad Roberts,
John Wesley,
William Robinson,
Marcus Wesley,
Carolina Robinson,
John Wesley,
Robinson, George Robinson, Jack Robinson, John Robinson,
Robert Wilkinson, William Williams, Alec Williams, Alexander Williams, Anthony Williams, Armstead Williams, Burgess Williams, David Williams, Dennis Williams, George Boland, James M. Williams, John Williams, Lewis Williams, Henry Monroe Williams, Nathan Williams, Isaac
Robert
Bow.
Shaw.
This one loud.
Charles Voted.
Henry voted.
Harris
Williams. Alexander
Jacob
Bowens.
Williams.
Samuel Bowens. Joseph Bowman.
Joseph Saint.
John Williams.
Alexander
Lewis
Samuel
Williams.
Sanders.
Martin
Sanders.
Williams.
Monroe Williams.
Nathan Williams. Robert Williams. George Bradley. Samson Williams. Samuel Williams. Solomon Williams.
Charles Saunders.
William
Joshua
Grace.
Saunders.
John
Henry,
Brent. John
Henry
S.
Stolber.
William Brent.
Charles Scott.
John Crockett.
Scott.
Richard
William
Crockett.
Scott.
Boris Conrad.
Ken
Lewis
Wilson.
Cook.
Henry
David
Stolber.
Cross.
Jacob
Edwin
Brewster.
Cross. Jerome Cross. Eli Bullock.
Crowder.
Paul Crowder. Lewis Burnett. Charles Burns. William Burnside. William Arthur Burroughs. George Burroughs. George W. Burroughs. Charles Hurd. Charles Butcher. Franklin Curtis. John Butcher. John Curtis. Charlie Joseph. John Butcher. Alfred Butler. President Curtis. George Richard John Curtis. Prince William H. Samuel Butler. William Dolly. William H. Morris. Zachariah Butler. Benjamin Davis. Solomon Butler. Henry Davis. Francis James Davis. Maurice Jefferson Davis. John Davis.
Taylor Miller.
Samuel C. Eli Willis.
Milford Mott.
Andy Wilson. Caldwell.
Minor.
Isaac Doc Wilson. George
Robert
James Wilson. Mace Gary Wilson. Campbell. Robert Wilson. Camp. Mars Win. James Cameron. Scipio Winchester. Isaac Wine. Carey. James John Winfield. John Charles Winston. John Carrigan. Philip Wise. Carroll. Alfred Harrison Wood. Carter. Andrew Carter. Arthur
Issam
Wood. Daniel Jake Wood. Jordan Wood. Wesley Wood. Peter Woodley. George Woodrow. D. Woods. Randall Woods. Benjamin Woodson. Samuel Woodson. Clinton Woolridge. Frank Wright. George W. Wright. Ross Leonard. Jackson Wright. Rod James. Richard Wright. Richmond Wyatt. George. Josiah Wire. Abraham Yeager. Isaac Yensier. James Yell. John Yoakum. John Yorkman. Dennis Young. George Young. Levi Young. Austin Young.
Thomas Sowell, Iverson Coe, Henry L. Stone, Robert Strain, John Holloman, Peyton, John Holloman,
Riley Young.
Denton,
Thomas Young.
Peter,
William Young. Willis Yunt. George True.
Carlton, Ethan Taylor, James Taylor,
Joseph
John
W.
Taylor,
Long, George Lowe, Isaiah E. Lowe, Jesse L. T. Lowe,
Henry
Jackson Laurie, Stephen Laurie, Isaac Lucas, Samuel Lucas, Joseph Lucas, Alexander Lucas, John Lytle, William Mabry, James Madison, Aaron Mills, Henry A. Mallard, Archie Malone, Danielle Malone, Ezekiel Malone, Edward Mouse, Solomon A. Manley, Benjamin D. Manley, David Manuel, George F. Marner, Richard D. Marks, J.B.T. Marks, Henry Marshall,
George W. Cruiser, Robinson Marshall,
Elias L. Marvin,
Joshua
James Marsh, Richard
Alexander
Mason,
Cunningham,
Stephen
Alexander
Mason,
Curry,
Tom's I.
George
Mason,
Curtis, Robert Curtis,
Joel Maston, George W.
Daniel Daggett,
Samuel Matthews,
George Dallas,
James Matthews,
Alfred Dana,
George Maxwell,
Robert Daniels,
James
Josiah H. Daniels,
Edward
Reuben Daniels,
George
William
W. Mayo,
Jenkins,
George O. Mayo,
Tanika Darling, Charles Davis, Gabriel Davis, George Davis, Henry Davis,
Buford
Isaac
McKeon,
Davis, John
Dempsey
Davis,
McCabe,
John D. Davis,
R.
Minoff Davis, Ralph
Frederick
Davis,
McClung,
William F.
James
Davis,
McCauley,
Henry
John
Dawson,
McCummins,
John Dawson,
Henry
Henry
McCool,
Dawson,
John McCorgan, Julius McCorgan,
Samuel Day,
Ruben
George
McCorgan,
Divorce,
Wade McCorgan, Charles McCowan, Willie McCowan, Charles
John
McCraw,
DeAney, Henry
Ruben
DeMoss,
McCrae,
Henry
William
Rivers,
McDaniel,
D.I.
Richard McDonald, George McElmo,
Alan McFarland.
Forrest Brown.
John McFarland.
Forrest Brown.
William
John W. Brown.
John McGinnis.
James Brown.
William McNeil. John McNeil. Robert McKisson.
Thomas Brown.
John George McMahon.
Andrew Booth.
John McMahon. Aaron
Thomas Brunswick.
Albert McPherson.
Albert Bryan.
Nelson McCann. John Lee. Edward Isaac Maraday. George Merrill. Reuben S. Merrill. Henry C. Merriweather. Edward Mickey. William Midbury. Edward Middleton. Henry Miles. John Miles. John
Bush.
H. Miller. Matthias
Elliot Butcher.
Howard White. Isaac
William H. Butler.
Richard
Custer. Hezekiah D. Caldwell. James Campbell.
Alexander White. Kristen Whitehead.
Abraham Campbell.
Whitehead. Joe Whiteside. Joseph Whiteside. William Whitlock. Arthur Wiggins. Daniel White.
Cyrus Burton.
Jacob Wilkinson. James Wilkinson. Moses Wilkinson. Simon Wilkinson.
Thurgood Brooks.
Samuel Williams.
Charles
Peter
Foster.
Williams. Aaron
Simon
Williams.
Corduroy.
Cato
Samuel
Williams.
Fowles.
Sandy Williams.
Arthur Fowler.
Daniel Williams.
Arthur
Samuel
Robinson.
Fowles.
David Williams.
Benjamin
Dr.
Francis.
Williams.
John
Andrew Kane.
David Franklin.
Williams. Harkless Williams.
Major Burton.
Henry
Albert Fraser.
James Williams.
Richard Brighton.
John Williams.
Charles Freeman.
Aaron N.
Noah
Buckman.
Freeman. Samuel
Humphrey
Freeman.
Buckner.
William Freeman. David Frisbee. Albert Froman. Albert Fry. Alfred Fry. William Fry. Lewis Fulton. Seneca Furman.
Frederick McKay.
James Gadsden.
James Thompson.
James Gage. Arnold Gale. William Gaines.
Henry Miller.
William
James Miller.
Gaines
John Miller. Levi Miller.
with Justin
Lawrence
S.
Miller.
Alexander
Robert
Gale.
Miller.
Arnold Gale. David
Williams
Gale.
Miller.
George Galloway.
William L.
Don
Miller.
Gamble.
William
Harlan
Miller.
Gamwell. William Gaines. William Gant. William H. Gant. Henry Gardner. William Gardner. Henry G. Garner. Simeon Garnes. Peter Garnett. Charles Garther. Elijah Gaskin. George Henderson. Charles Hennessy. John Hennessy. Samuel Henley. Charles Hennessy. Charles Henry. James Henry.
Charles Moore. George Moore. W. Moore. James Moore.
James
Otis
Henry.
Moore.
John Henry.
John
Joseph Henry.
Butler,
Thomas
H.
Henry.
Turner.
William Henry.
Wendell
Robert
Turner.
Hensey.
John
Benjamin
Turpin.
Henson. William Henson.
James
Jacob
Turpin.
Herbert. David Jacob.
Charles
David
Tyler.
Herod. William
George
Hitch.
Tyler.
Henry
Daniel
Higgins.
Ballou.
Francis
Thomas
Higginson.
Van. Daniel Van Allen.
R.M.
Isaac
Higgins.
Van Dorn.
Alfred Hill.
Charles
Benjamin
Van
Hill.
Dorn.
John H.
Joseph
Hill.
Van
John W. Hill. Richard
Charles
Hill.
Van
Thomas
Denver.
G. Hill.
Joseph
Alexander
Van Denver.
Hilton. Frank Hilton. Henry Hinckley. George Hicks.
H. Smith.
Isaac Hodge. James Ho. Samuel Holkins. James Holland. James Holly. George W. Holmes. Henry Holmes. Henry C. Holmes. Joseph Holmes. Richard Holmes. William Holmes. John Homager. Elias Hooper. Lewis Hopkins.
Sandy.
Dan McTodd.
George Johnson.
Samuel.
Gus Johnson.
Thomas H.
Hector Johnson. Isaac Johnson. John Johnson. Tom Johnson. Isaiah Jones. John R. Jones. Joseph Jones. Robert Jones. Sandy Jones. Cy Judge. Jacob Jonas.
Benjamin
Douglas
Myers.
Keels.
Dick Mitchell.
William Keller.
Henry Mitchell.
Gladys Keller.
Samuel Montana.
Israel Kelly.
Bob McGovern.
Nelson Kelly.
Garrett
Elias
Montgomery.
Kennedy.
William Montgomery.
Douglas Kent.
Wilson Montgomery.
Andrew King.
Charles Moore.
Lawrence King.
Harvey Charles Moore.
March King.
James Moore.
Ned King.
Moore.
Rufus King. Tom King.
Adam Moran.
York King.
Moore. Edward Moses. Elias Mao.
David Kennedy.
Robert
Philip Stroder.
Nathan Knight.
John
Samson Norm.
Simon
Henry
Edward LeBute.
Sutton.
Henry Murkison.
George
William
Lamb.
D. Swain.
Manuel
Frank
Lance.
Murray.
Billy
James
Landrum.
Murray. Henry
Barney
Murray.
Poppy Lee Romo.
Thomas Up.
Isaac C.
Hamilton Myers.
William
James
C.
Myers.
John Laston.
Saga.
Amos Lawrence.
William Neal. Charles A.
Joe Lauer.
Henry Nelson.
Bill Leslie.
January Nelson.
Daniel S. Leslie.
Nelson.
Charles Lewis.
Nelson. Oscar Nelson.
Bonaparte.
Nelson.
Hiram Lewis.
Nelson. Sharper
James
Nelson.
Lewis.
Benjamin Bonner.
Leonard Lewis. Sam Light.
Boyd.
Alfonso Lilly.
John
Joseph Lomas.
Whitney Boyd.
Charles Loney.
Boyd.
David
Daniel Long.
Elliott.
Isaac Lawrence.
James
Manley Lyman.
Philip.
Matt Lyman. Henry Mack. Willis Mack.
Palmer.
Merrick Mayonzer.
Bynum Bradford. Harrison Bradford.
J.T. Ginn. Millette.
Joe Bradford.
George Mallett.
Merriman Bradford.
Hector Mallett.
Nelson
Isaac.
Bradford.
Derry Malone.
Bradford.
James
Richie
McGaw.
Stephen Rakely.
Perry.
Samuel.
Peter Magnago.
James
Moses McCullough. Moses McCrae. Craig. Alex McCullough.
George Grant.
Bob
Tony
McCullough.
James
John
Aaron
McCullough.
Vic
Joshua McCullough.
Wright.
Lon McCullough. John McCutcheon. Frank McDonald. John McDonald. Louis McDonald. Benjamin McDonald.
Anthony Brown.
Joseph McDonald. Richard McDonald. Samuel McDonald. Sam McDowell. John McDowell. Monroe McDowell. Success McDowell. Dr. McFadden. Manning McPhear. Forrest McGill.
Thomas Bryant.
Jordan McGraw.
Peter Bryant. Stephen Bryant. Charles Butt. George Butt. Primus Butt.
This is the 135th out of Goldsboro, North Carolina. The 135th was organized from men who previously served in the Pioneer Corps and were part of General Sherman's army. They were organized in Goldsboro, North Carolina on March 27, 1865. They were formed and served under the command of Colonel John E. Gurley until the end of the war. The Pioneer Corps worked tirelessly through the winter of 1864 and the spring of 1865 to move Sherman's army across the state. They parted the roads, built the bridges, and enabled the army to cross the rivers and swamps of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. They worked day and night to ensure Sherman's 250,000 wagons and 60,000-man army rapidly advanced in the effort to bring the Civil War to an end. Once enlisted in Goldsboro, the men of the 135th USCT were given their United States Army blue uniforms with the famous brass buttons. Their jackets with the brass buttons had the Freedom Eagle on the face. They were extremely proud of the fact that they were their first family's original freedom seekers. The 135th left the picks and shovels behind upon leaving Goldsboro and marched as a part of General Sherman's army to Raleigh, North Carolina, and then to Petersburg and Richmond, Virginia. They continued to Fredericksburg and Alexandria, Virginia. They hold these distinctions. Distinct honor of marching under the regimental flag, the Grand Review, or Victory Parade with General Sherman. Following a brief stay in Washington, D.C., performing guard duty at
Captain John Clark.
in the defense of Washington.
Lieutenant Charles W. Stone.
Was transported by
Second
train
Lieutenant Joseph
and by
Ware.
boat to
Sergeant
Louisville,
Ben
Kentucky,
Allen.
where they performed guard
Sergeant
until they were
Manuel
busted out of
Irwin.
service.
Sergeant James Grant. Sergeant James Hooper. Sergeant Marshall
Our
Rogers.
descendants are the ones who
Sergeant
Richardson
Wilson.
ancestors.
Corporal Paul Benson.
Hooray!
Corporal Robert
Hooray!
Evans. Corporal Joshua Hill.
Hooray!
Corporal Jerry Martin. Corporal Peter Michael. William D. Sims. Also Corporal.
From the
Corporal John Washington.
Company D.
Daniel Abel.
Anthony Salter.
Abram Belcher.
London Quick.
Isaac Belcher. Isaac Best, David Blunt, Thomas Blunt, Andrew Boston, Allison Burnett,
Daniel Taylor,
Joseph Bush,
Gerard,
Peter Butler, William Carter, Alex Peace, John Chavis, Harry Cody, Jacob Cody, Sambo Collington, Thomas Watson, Isaac Austin, Tom Cross, Tony Cross, Richard Davis, Charles Doyle, Richard Ellie, Lars Evans,
William Edmonds,
Thomas Holton, John Gibson, Simon Gibson, Peter Gibson, John Gibson,
Calvin Eldey, Joseph Elliott,
Coffee Hunter,
William Fraser, Dennis
Simon,
Elliot Fryer, Edward
Simon,
Simon Gibson, Andrew Gilmore, Henry Gilmore, Joseph Gilmore, Isaac Green, Sonko Green, William Hardy, Isaac Henry, Alec Hill, Manuel Hill, Alfred Howell, Will Huger, Edmund Jacobs, Green Jennings, Noah Jones, Julius Lincoln, Dennis Sherrod, Simon Lurk, Harry Mack, Peter Martin, Adam McCree,
Thomas
Gray, Henry
Henry
McCree, James McCree, Mingo
Richard
McCree,
Rankin,
Nero McDaniel, Oliver
Ben
McKibben,
Gilliard, Edinburgh,
Ed Muse,
Frank
Pompey
Gilliard,
Muse,
John Gilliard,
John Michael,
March Gilliard,
Sam Nelson,
Gilliard,
Anthony
Rebecca
Oliver,
Gilliard,
Adam
Thomas
Parker,
Gilliard, Tracy
George
Gilliard,
Parker,
Harry
David
Glover,
Patterson,
James
John Patterson, Burrell Pope,
William
Lewis Powell, Washington Powell, Edward Price, Anthony Salter, London Quick,
Joshua
Andy Wiles,
Peter Gooding,
James Robbins, Peter Robbins,
Abraham Gordon,
John Rollins,
January Gordon,
Jack
Jay
Sherwood,
Gordon,
April Snipes,
John Gordon,
Wilson Gordon, Lloyd Washington, 176 Ford Air Rated. Go ahead, free.
George Gordon, Louis Gordon, Mike Gordon,
Harry
Negro Gordon, Adam Graham,
Daniel
Graham, Isaac Graham,
Noah
William
Adams,
Graham,
Ben Allen, Pearson, Boston Andrew, John
Sam Graham, Simon Graham,
Washington,
William
Shadrach Andrews, Ned Andrews, George Armstrong, John Arnold, Rayford Asher, Simon Asher, John Ahmed, Louis
Simon Gregor,
William
Albert
Bates,
Price,
Basil Arval,
Middleton Griffin,
Arnold Baltimore,
James
George Banks,
John Bissett,
George
Adam
Banks,
Rumble,
Charles Barbary, Aaron Barrington, Francis Barnes,
James
Henry Barnett,
William
Anthony Barton,
Ainsworth, Lorenzo S. Haley,
Henry Baby,
William Hall,
Patrick Baby, Peter Baby, Andy B,
Tobias Hamilton,
Calvin Fisher, Nelson Burke, Fletcher Beckham, Abram Belcher, Isaac Belcher, Paul Benson, John Bersha, Andy Besson,
Robert
Berardi, Benjamin Bordley, James Bordley, John W. Bordley, Samuel Bogart, William H. Bowden,
Hinton F. Parks,
N. Bullock,
Thomas Parks,
Samuel Bond,
Wesley Palmer,
Francis L. Bond,
Alfred Pate,
Robert
Daniel Pathy,
Francis I.
Mansfield
Bond,
Patterson,
Louis Bowden,
David Patterson,
James E. Boston,
John Patterson,
Bowden,
Carolina P.,
Charles Burley,
Austin Pearson, John Pecor, George Petty, Thomas Petty, Stephanie Peoples, my descendant. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
Frederick Braddock,
Francis Pepper,
Alonzo
Louis Pettigrew,
Peter
William Pfeiffer,
William
George Phillips, Charles Pye, George Pye, Joseph Pinn, Vandy Pipkin, Edmund Pitts, Ed Wilson Pitts,
George
Lloyd Pocock, Silas Polly, John Polstrat,
United States colored New York. Isaac
Granville Gregory,
Thomas
Patrick
Baldwin,
Griselle,
Calvin A.
Talbert Griswold,
Charles L.
Mac D. Grover,
Charles
Monroe
Smith.
Galt,
Daniel
Jacob Habershan,
Edward Smith.
James Hackle,
Smith.
Ruffin
George
Hadley,
Smith.
Josie
Smith.
Hager,
Henry.
John Hargrove,
Ira.
Christopher
St.
J.
Clair
Hale,
Smith.
Alexander
John
Hammer,
Smith.
Arthur
John
Hammer,
A.
David Hammer,
John
Ephraim Hammer, Harry Hammer,
Henry.
Nathan Hammer,
John
Peeler
Smith.
Hammer, Tan
Smith.
Hammer, Jackson Hamilton,
Joseph G. Smith.
Joseph Hampton,
Madison Smith.
Alson
Thomas H.
Haynes,
James Washington Johnson.
O.W.
Samuel
H. Johnson.
Haynes,
Andrew Carter.
Henry
George Carter.
Hanks,
George
Kiriam
John
Hanna,
Robert
William
Carter.
Hardy,
Carter.
Jesse
Robert
Harper,
William
Gilbert
John
Harris, Prince Harris,
Jordan. William H.
Esam
Samuel
Harrison,
Smith.
Smart
Stephen
Harrison,
Smith.
Augustus
Stephen H.
Hatcher,
Smith.
Kelly.
Jasper
Smith.
Hayes, Elmore
Smith.
Hazen, Jesse
Smith.
Hedges, John
Smith.
Hemphill, Isaac
Smoke.
Henry,
Samuel
Giles Hurd,
Nation.
Henry
Snowden.
Hewen,
George Snyder.
Elias
Oscar
Hicks,
Oliver.
Michael
Alfred
Hicks,
Summers.
William
Robert A.
Hicks,
Sorrell.
Alec Hill,
Edward Sorrell.
Henry
Thomas
Hill,
Sutherland.
Joshua
John
Hill,
Spangle.
Manuel
Thomas
Hill,
E.
Nelson
John
Hill, Washington
Spencer.
Hill, Allen Hilton, Robert Hines, Amos
Lydia Curtis
Hobbs,
from St.
Thomas
Augustine's African
Hobbs,
Ministry. We are glad
William Hobbs,
Daniel
James
fallen veteran.
Collins, Rodney J. Holman,
James Lee.
Francis Holmes, Haywood
Kirtley,
Holmes,
Thomas Lee.
Prince
Cushenberry,
Holmes,
Ellery Leonard. Ellery Leonard.
Newton, Darby, Timothy, Darby,
Charles Lewis.
Philip,
Coleman
Garrett,
Lewis. George Lewis.
Charles Davis,
James
Frank Davis,
John
Henry
Lewis. John
Davis,
Lewis. Thomas
Hudson
Lewis,
Davis,
John Lightfoot.
James Davis, John Davis, John M. Davis, Joseph Davis, Silas Davis, Simon Davis,
Robert
David
Tappan,
Joseph
McDaniel, Jesse Tartland,
William Davis,
Humphrey McDowell,
William M.
William H.
Nicocha,
David McFarland,
James
Henry Robertson,
Albert Taylor,
John
John
McFarland, Taylor, Samuel T.
Isaac
Cross,
Deming,
Duffy,
Howard
Frederick
Dennis,
McKinney, Taylor,
Dennis
Cole
A.
Gordon,
Durden,
John Medley,
William
David
Alexander
Meekins,
Meekins, William L. Dixon,
George Mellenford,
George Zito,
Richard Minder, William Morrell,
James Royale,
George D.G. Morrell,
Robert Dixon,
Peter
William L.
Metcalf,
Dixon,
Daniel Rozier,
Emerson Dodge,
James Michael,
Goddard,
Charles
Mike
Wigglesworth,
Ron Dillette,
Joseph Milford,
Edward
Charles S. Miller,
Charles
Sally,
Henry
Henry Miller,
Thomas
Sandmore,
Charles
Levi Miller,
Henry
Owens Miller,
W.
Robert Miller, William Miller,
Jake Drive, Wilbur Dubois,
L. Miller,
Frazier
William D.
Dudley,
Milliken, Richard Sandy,
Edmund
Leonard Wills, Charles Minor,
Duncan,
Henry
Ellis
Metcalf,
Duncan, Hayden Duncan, Elias Duncan,
Mitchell,
Samuel Duncan, Underwood Duncan, Ellis Duncan,
Aaron Money,
George
Boston Montague,
George Danette,
Edward Montague, Ezekiel Monroe,
Dennis Cum,
Dearborn S. Moody,
Horace
Charles Moore,
George
Moore,
Isham
George
Durham,
Moore,
George
James
Durant,
Moore,
Peter Duval,
James Otis
Lander
Moore,
Dyer,
John Moore,
Green,
Prince
Idlin,
Samuel
Frank Edlin,
Small,
John
William
Edlin,
Small, Robert Malley, Abraham Smith,
Henry Price, Scipio Pringle, Samson Pringle,
Also,
Thomas Pringle,
31st Regiment.
Benjamin Pringle, Anthony Poulter, McCoon Qualls, Hampton Quarterbaum, Andrew Quick, Ebenezer
Thomas
Quick,
Springfield.
Lawden Quick,
Ezra
James
Stanton.
Rafford,
John
Thomas Rain, Harry
John
Rawls,
Settle.
Joseph Ray, Archer
John
Raymond,
Steele.
Marion
James
Raymond,
Steele.
James Bruce,
Washington.
July Rice,
James H. Stefan.
Jackson Richardson,
William
George
J.
Riddle, Handy
David
Riles,
Stewart.
Thomas Ringer,
Frank
King Rhodes,
Joseph
James Roberts, Peter Roberts, Reuben
Wallace
Roberts, Silas Roberts,
David
Ferguson
Stewart.
Robertson, James Robertson, James Robinson,
Stewart.
Roland Robinson,
John
Butler Robinson, James Robson, Joseph Rodwell, Charles Rogers, Prince
Isaac
Rogers,
Still.
Marshall Rogers, John Rollins,
Thomas Stockton.
Dallas Rule,
George
Joseph
H.
Rule,
Stone.
Judson Rule,
John
Charles Roseberg,
George
Alfred Rose,
Stoner.
James Russell,
David
Samuel Russell,
Stewart.
John
Henry
Riles,
Stewart.
John Sampson,
John Stewart.
Isaac Sanders,
Sanford
Stephen
Stewart.
Sanders,
Emmanuel
Arthur Sanders,
Sullivan.
Thomas
Reuben
Savington,
Surrington.
Samson
James
Hoover,
H.
Alexander
Stufford.
Scott,
William
George
H.
Scott,
Stufford.
Kit Scott,
Lane
Smick
Scott.
Scott,
Sutlar.
Cato
Lane
Siegler, Hillard Sellers,
Joseph
Benjamin
Swain.
Sellers,
Alexander
S.
Taft.
Shaw, Joseph
William
Shaw,
Taffarel.
Andrew Shedrack,
Talaferro.
Charles Whalen,
Perry Talbot.
Robert
George Tankard.
Alexander,
William Tappan.
James Webb,
Daniel Alves, Noah Adams,
Robert
Ben
Weller,
Allen, Boston
John
Wells, John Allen,
William
Austin
Arthur
Anderson,
Sample,
Washington
Louis
Anderson,
Sarden,
Shadrach
Nathaniel
Anderson,
Salisbury,
Ned Andre,
John
George
Saunders,
Armstrong,
William
John
H. Savage,
Arnold, Rayford
Henry
Ashford,
J. Sayers,
Simon Ashford,
John E.
John
Samuel
Allman,
Sackler,
Louis Bailey, William Bailey, Basil Ball,
John
Arnold
Shank,
Baltimore,
Andrew
George
Scott,
Bain,
George Scott,
George Bankston,
George R.
Charles
Scott,
Barney,
Henry A.
Aaron
Scott,
Barrington,
Jacob
Francis Barnes,
Scott,
Daniel Barnett,
John Scott,
Hampton Barnes,
Saunders Scott,
Henry Beatty,
William H.
Patrick
Scott,
Beatty,
William P.
Edgar
Scott,
Beatty,
Francis
Andy
Fields,
P.
Joseph F.
Alvin
Fields,
Turner,
John
Nelson Burke,
Ferry,
Fletcher Birchman, Abram Belcher, Isaac Belcher,
William Samuel
Paul
Saylor,
Benson,
Bishop
John
A.
Bertram, Handy
William Charles H.
Gilbert Best,
Sewell,
Charles Isaac
Thomas
Dahl,
Shepard,
John
Charles
Biden,
H.
Hustle,
Shirley, Philip Charter,
Simon
William Sidney,
Black,
Joseph
Blair,
Joseph
Louis
Underhill,
Blue, Thaddeus
George
Blow,
H. Silas,
David
Underwood,
Blue,
Henry
Peter
Simons,
Blue,
Valentine, Louis
David
J.
Blue,
Simons,
Thomas
William
Valentine,
Simons,
Moses
George
Bowles,
John W.
Stephen
Simpson,
Boker,
Charles H.
Osborne
Barnes,
Barnes,
here we go again.
Cornelius
James A.
Barnes,
Sloan, John Sloan,
James
Van Horn, Benjamin Smith,
Jacob
William
Booker,
Van
William
Benjamin
Booker,
W. Smith,
James
Everett
Bowles,
S. Smith,
Isaac Johnson,
George Smith,
John Johnson,
Henry
Tom
Smith,
Johnson,
Van Shook,
Isaiah Jones,
Isaiah
John
Smith, Vanderbilt,
Jones,
Israel Smith,
George
Vanderbilt, Jackson S. Smith,
Sandy Jones,
James Smith, William James H. Smith, all from the 24th Regiment, United States Colored Infantry, Pennsylvania, continuing the same regiment. William Rivas, William H. Abraham Rex, Forman, Alexander Rose,
Rhodes.
Washington,
William
Wagner,
Rhodes.
We got
Henry,
Lawrence
where?
Charles H.
Alan
Rich.
Walker,
John Rich.
Augustus,
John
Walker,
Richard.
Edward
Charles
Walker,
Richardson.
John Walker,
George W. Richardson.
Joseph
Herdman
Walker,
Richardson.
Matt
Isaac
Walker,
Richardson.
Daniel Knox.
Joseph
John
Richardson.
Wallace,
Peter W.
William
Richardson.
Wallace,
Samuel Richardson.
John
Samuel H.
Got
Richardson.
Manuel Lance.
William
Got Billy
Richardson.
Lance.
George, United States,
Samuel
Colored Infantry,
Joseph
Evans Drake.
Stephen Riley. John Ringgold.
Joseph.
John F. Long.
Nelson Dudley.
William Robert.
These are names
Robinson.
on the 135th
George
United States
Robinson.
Colored Troops.
Henry Durham.
James Robinson.
Brazen, Solomon,
James H.
Piers, Nelson,
Robinson.
Adam East.
Ferguson, David L.
Stephen Robinson.
Jacob, McKinley, Jacob,
Robinson.
Wesley
Fisher,
Robinson.
Theodore
H.
F.
Robinson.
Milton
Flanagan,
H.
Levi
Robinson.
David,
Toby Epps.
Fleming,
Jacob
Oliver
Rowland.
P.
Flanders Urban.
John
Austin
Roll.
Fernvis, Alexander, Fletcher, John,
Roland. Alexander Rollins.
Flynn,
Isaac
Daniel,
Rollins.
Flynn,
Timothy
William,
Roper.
Flowers, Burrell,
Rose.
Flowers,
William H.
Joseph, Paul,
Wilson.
Julius,
Rubon.
John
William,
H.
Ogle,
Stoll.
Henry John J.
Daniel
Charles,
C. Ryder.
Ford,
Samuel H.
Ford,
Sullivan.
Faison
John
House,
Salisbury.
Fort,
24th
Philip,
Regiment, United States
Fort,
Colored Infantry.
Reuben,
Pennsylvania.
Foster, Alexander, Foster, Solomon,
Henry Gilmore. Gabriel Clay Gilmore.
Ford,
Gilmore.
Holson,
Thomas Glenn.
Jackson,
Frederick Jackson,
James
Reed,
John
Jackson,
Chestnut.
Folk,
Charles Chin.
John Grant.
Isham
Folk,
Crispin.
Ransom,
John Christopher.
Willis
Elias Christie.
Folk,
Amos
Washington,
Christie.
Fuller,
Dennis
Asa,
Cisco. French Clappin.
Fulton,
Andrew Clark. Elijah
Furlow,
Clark.
Harry,
Green.
Frederick Clark.
Golden.
George Clark.
Gastafort,
Henry Clark.
George,
Job
Gardner,
Clark.
Solomon,
Samuel Clark.
Garley,
Amos
John
Clay.
E.
Grant Clay. Henry Clay.
Garrett,
John
Richard,
H. Clay.
Garrett,
Thomas
Garnett,
Clay. William Clay.
Nero,
William
Gas,
H. Clay.
Peter,
Charles H. Leggett. William H.
Gaudy,
Clemens.
Boston,
John Clemens.
Gaudy,
William
James
John,
Clemens.
Gibson,
William
James,
Clemens.
Washington.
John,
Barney Cleveland.
Gibson,
John Klein.
Sambo.
Gibson,
Houston
Simon,
Harry Hammer.
William
Giles,
Close.
Albert,
David Cloud.
Giles,
Jerry
Benjamin
Coates.
Collins.
Thurston Cobble.
Robert Connor.
Edward Coe.
Samuel
Silas Coffey. Robert
Henry
Colburn.
Kroon.
George Colden.
Charles
Barney
Cooper.
Cole. Edward Cole.
Henry
Francis Cole.
Copeland.
John Cole.
Samuel
Peter
Copeland.
Cole.
Albert Buey. Anthony Copeland.
Samuel
Pascal
Cole.
Bullard.
Charles Coleman.
Albert Booth.
Edward Coleman. Nathan Coleman.
Alex
Olmsted Coleman.
Albert
Hiram
Burke.
Collins. Robert Collins.
Burke.
George Common.
Charles Bunk.
George Kahn. Augustus Cook.
Charles
Benjamin Cook.
Eben
Hezekiah Cook.
Alice
John
Burnett.
Cook. Joseph Cook.
Burnett.
Preston Cook.
Francis Burnett.
Henry Cooksey. Addison Cooper. Andrew Cooper. Henry Cooper. James Cooper. John Cooper. William Cormick. Isaac Cornish. William I. Cornish. Clinton Costin. John Cotter. Jerry Council. Joseph Covington. Nathaniel Covington. George Cox. John Cox. William Cox. Raleigh Craig. William Crampton. George Crank. Henry Crasson. Thomas Crasson. Joseph Cravens. George Crawford. George W. Crawford. Henry Crawford. Robert Crawford. And Thomas Crawford.
Barrett, William H. Barrett, Alan Barrett, Anthony Barrett, H. Weddington, Charles Whedon, Charles W. Whedon, York Whedon, Daniel L. Weeks, Forrest Weeks, Isaac Weeks, Nathaniel Weeks, Samuel Stevens, Stephen Weldon, Archie Wells, James Wells, Robert, George C. Wentworth, Andrew Wesley, Charles West, Job West, John
Okay,
West,
oh, we read together.
William H. West,
Okay.
Charles West, John West,
Okay.
Henry Stanton.
Fleming Tyler.
Paul Stanton.
James Tyler.
Adam Stevens.
John Tyree.
Walter Wheeler,
William Tyson. Henry Umphy.
Anthony
Charles Up the Grove.
Goswell,
George Up the Grove.
William
James Up the
Stevens.
Grove.
Robert
John Up the Grove. Joseph
William
Up the Grove.
Willis White,
Calamanco Fleming
William
Valentine.
James
John Valentine. Jordan
Edward
Valentine.
Stovall.
William Valentine.
Peter Stofford.
Morris Veeney.
Edward
John
Stokes.
Veeney.
William H.
Henry
Williams,
Vickers.
Robert
James
Strobin.
Byers.
W.
John B.
Strubin.
Byers.
Isaac Wilmer,
Calvin
Israel
Binney.
Rubin.
George
Israel
Andrew B.
Sumter.
Wilson, Frank
William
George
S.
Wilson,
Sumter.
George
Boston
Wilson,
Sweeper.
George H. Wilson, Harvey Wilson,
William
Harvey
Schwartz.
Wilson,
Richie
Jesse W.
Calvert.
Wilson, John H.
A.
Wilson,
Edward Taylor.
Landon Wilson,
Calvert
Samuel
Taylor. John Tennant.
William
July
A. Clark,
Tennant.
William J.
July
Wilson, John Wyman, George Wyndham,
July Tennant.
Ephraim Wyman,
Baser Terry.
Abraham Wynn, Robert Winslow, Edward Wolf, Samuel Woodby, Nias Woods, John Woods, Peter Woods, Samuel Woods, William Woods, William H. Woodward,
Jeremiah Harris.
John Wolford,
Okay.
Wilson Worthy,
Okay, Joshua Ward.
Francis
Louis Ward. Primus Ward. Renzo Ward. Stephen Ward. Titus Ward. William Ward. John Worry. Samuel Warner.
Samuel Cromwell.
Fortune Warnock. Adam Washington. Cato Washington.
Frank
Charles
Brown.
Washington.
Alicia
Cujo
Kent.
Washington. Daniel Washington. Fraser
Benjamin
Washington.
Cunningham.
Gabriel Washington.
Cunningham.
27th
Timer Washington.
Regiment,
James Washington.
Henry Curry.
John
Alternate.
Washington.
Joshua Curry.
Joseph Washington.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Whitney
John
Washington.
Wilson.
Prince
Walter Thompson.
Washington.
Edward
Lewis
Gabriel.
Richard Washington.
William
John
Thompson.
Gay.
William
Moses
Washington.
Wilson.
Levi
William J.
Waters.
Thompson.
Gay.
Robert
Mordecai
Wilson.
Waters.
Gay.
Edward Thornton.
Harper Waters.
George
Samuel
Dale.
William Waters.
Isaac
Elkanah
Thornton.
Thomas
Edward Ball.
Samuel
James
Watson.
John Winfield.
Henry
Simon
Webb.
Harvey Tibble.
William
James
Haynes.
Wynn.
John
John
Davis.
Joseph
Charles
Benton.
Henry
Alfred
Bell.
Isaac
Baptist.
Tilden.
Henry
Henry
Murray.
Barnes.
Henry
Nathan
Paul
Barnes.
Tolbert.
Samuel
Frank
Barnett.
Davis.
Thomas
Scipio
Barnett.
Torrance.
Riley
Barnett.
Jr.
West.
Eugene
Henry
Bates.
Townsend.
Davis.
Peter
Alfred
Bates.
Winslow.
William
Alfred
John
Travis.
James
Davis.
Bales.
Jesse Wise.
George
Joseph
Beard.
Franklin
Davis.
Treadwell.
Robert B.
John Wise.
Levi
Charles
Davis.
B.
William Troutman.
Thomas
Louis
John
Davis.
Hatton Beatty.
William
Thomas
Root.
Davis.
John W.
Francis Bell.
Peter Truss.
Joseph Bell.
Solomon
Davis.
William Bell.
Dan Tucker.
Peter
Brandon
Dawson.
Bennett.
Henry Wade.
Jacob
James W.
Bennett.
Tucker.
Gordon
Ransom Bennett.
Solomon
Thomas
Dawson.
Tucker.
Bedenbaugh.
Harvey J.
William
Bentley.
Tucker.
Henry
John
Jackson
Wood.
Berry.
John
Joel
Gay.
Bennett Lapp.
John
Myers
Joseph Betts.
Gay.
Charles Turner.
Howard Beverly.
Charles F.
Samuel Beverly.
William S.
John
Daniel
H.
Gay.
Turner.
George
Henry
Bird.
Woolley.
Charles
John R.
Betts.
Turner.
Bird.
John
Rich
David
Birdsong.
Delaney.
Jacob
Peter
O'Shea.
Janos Delaney.
Edward Black.
Samuel
Daniel
Turner.
Peter Delaney.
Henry
Benjamin
Wormley.
Delby.
Travis Turner.
George
William
Dempsey.
Rand.
James
William
H.
Turney.
Garrett
Dempsey.
Charles
Sayre.
Wright.
Samuel
William Underwood.
Derrickson.
George Blake.
Harry Esha.
William
John H.
Ambrose
Valentine.
Dixon.
Joseph Blanchard.
Henry
Nick
Van
Gordon
Washington.
Dixon.
Warren
Don
Louis
Evans,
Bledsoe.
George
Henry Van
Ditto.
Gladys
Warren
Blood.
Nelson Evans,
Burr
Sidney
Dixon.
Fitz.
Mileage
William
women.
Charles
Bowen.
Dixon.
Henry Vincent.
Daniel
Bowen.
James
Winslow.
Dixon.
William
Alan
Wilson.
Viney.
James Wilson.
John Bowman.
John
Solomon
Wilson.
Dixon.
London Wilson.
Sidney.
Gabriel Vine.
Samuel Wilson.
Thomas
David Wine.
Samuel
Henry
Benny.
Von George.
William Wood.
Samuel
Joseph
Boyd.
Dobbin.
Randall
Lorenzo Doyle.
William
Wade.
Vaughn.
Alexander
Albert
George.
Boswell.
Benjamin
Bryce
S. Wade.
Donald.
Alan Yates.
George
Henry
Dorsey.
Exum Wade.
Washington Young.
Dorsey.
William
Frank
Bowen.
Wade.
Dorsey.
John Bowman.
Louis
Joseph
E.
Bowman.
Isaiah Watkins.
Washington
George
Bowman. William
Dorsey.
Bowman.
Joseph J. Wakefield.
Richard Dorsey.
John
William
Boyd.
Dorsey.
L. Jesse
Arthur
Baldwin.
Douglas.
Morris
Charles
Bradley.
E. Douglas.
William H. Bradley.
Robert
Frisbee
Waldron.
H.
Alfred
Douglas.
Bradshaw.
George
John Bradley.
Alexander
Douglas.
Walker.
Horace
John
Green.
Douglas.
Ryland
Henry
Branch.
Walker.
Raleigh
Joseph
Douglas.
Hurston
George
Walker.
Douglas, 2S.
Steve Branson.
James
Henry
Walker.
Darwin.
John Walker.
Samuel Drake.
Franklin, Jacob
Vincent Duckett.
John Brassfield.
Samuel A.
William Bray.
Duggars.
Ludwell Walker.
Don
Brazil.
Dummer.
Samuel
Lawson
Walker.
Brent.
James
Sherman
Duncan.
Walker.
Jackson
James
Bernstein.
Wallace.
Jordan Bernstein.
Aaron Ward.
John Brock.
George W. Ward.
Clement Brooker.
John Adams.
Albazon
Henry
Brooks.
Ward.
Charles Brooks. Ebenezer Brooks.
James
John
A.
W.
Ward.
Brooks.
Britton
Robert Brooks.
Tan.
William
Jeremiah
Jackson.
Ward.
Tanner.
Alfred Brown.
James
Brittany
A.
Brown.
Joseph
Cornelius
Ward.
Brown.
Papisco.
David E.
Andrew
Brown.
Tate.
Edward
James
Brown.
A. Warren.
Harrison
Tate.
Brown.
Charles
Henry Brown.
Andrew J. Warner.
J.R.
Charles
Brown.
E.
James
Taylor.
Brown.
David
Edward
John
Warren.
Brown.
Taylor.
Manuel Brown.
Wayne
Robert
Jerry
Taylor.
W.
Brown.
Warren.
James
Jensen
H.
Brown.
Taylor.
Survey Brown.
Jesse
Reuben Warwick.
Thomas
Taylor.
Brown.
John
Tillman Brown.
Taylor.
George
William
Washington.
Brown.
John
William
Henry
H.
Taylor.
Brown.
John
William
Washington.
J.
Norvell
Brown,
W.
Jr.
Taylor.
Samuel Bruce.
Robert
Some Watkins.
Taylor.
H. Newsom.
Thomas
George
M.
W.
Kelly.
Bryant.
James
John
Watkins.
W. Bryant.
O.
Samuel
Kenny.
Bryant.
Robert Watkins.
John
Scipio Tarrant.
Hilliard
Bundy.
Watson.
William
Alfred
Graham.
Curry.
William Watson.
and no
Thomas
Simon
Curry.
John Watts.
Bonser Thatcher.
Henry
Eli
Grant.
O.
Alexander
Henry
Thomas.
Graves.
Alfred M.
Daniel
Thomas.
Samuel Burnett.
Cornelius
John
Thomas.
Arthur Webster.
Esquire
John
Thomas.
Burnett. Alexander
George
Henry
Burns.
Thomas.
Alexander Burns.
Henry
Mark
Thomas.
M.
Burns.
Wells.
Edward
Jacob
Burns.
Thomas.
Henry Butcher.
William Wilhelm.
Absalom
Thomas.
Butler. Henry
Martin
Butler.
Thomas.
Robert
Henry
Vile.
Wells.
William
John Binet.
Thomas.
Benjamin
Sidney
Bird.
Wells.
Cornelius
John Bird.
Thompson.
William
N.
Wells.
David G.
Simon
Thompson.
Gregg.
Cornelius West.
Edward Thompson.
Simon Grayson.
Garth
George
Albert
West.
Thompson.
Rice.
John W.
George
Calloway.
Robert
Thompson.
West.
W.
Gridiron.
George W.
James
Thompson.
Gridiron.
John
Banker Wetley.
A. Thompson.
Middleton.
George
John
Wheatley.
Thompson.
Benjamin
Jefferson
Grimsey.
Carpenter.
John W.
James
Thompson.
Campbell
Miles
Wheaton.
Carr.
Josiah
William R.
Thompson.
Carr.
John
Khalid
Lewis
Carter.
John
Thompson.
Wheeler.
Edward N.
Adam
Seymour
Brumble.
Isaac
Thompson.
Carter.
Samuel
John
Giles.
Carter. Joseph
Thomas
Carter.
Habersham.
Anderson
Henry
White.
Carter.
Haggis.
Nelson Carter.
Charles White.
Robert
Charles
Carter.
Hainsworth.
William Carter.
John Hainsworth.
Gilbert White.
Wilson Hainsworth.
John Chase.
Lorenzo S.
Green
Haley.
White.
William Hall.
Chapman.
Hamilton
Henry
A. White.
July Hamilton.
Harvey
Sight
White.
Hamilton.
Henry
Elias
White.
Hamilton.
Bush.
Julius Hampton.
Ira White.
Ben Hanna. James
John
Hanna.
White.
London
James Hardy.
Joseph White.
Richardson Harkless.
Philip White.
Priest
Butler.
Harper.
Samuel White.
Jacob Harvey.
Taylor White.
Riley Harvey.
Wesley
Robert
White.
Harvey. Anderson
William White.
Gilliard. Ben
James L.
Gilliard.
Whitfield.
Edinburgh Gilliard.
Henry
Thomas
Frank
Lewis.
Gilliard.
Moses Carroll.
Joe
Charles
Gilliard.
W. Westell.
March
Carroll.
Gilliard.
Lilly.
Toledo
John Williams.
Gilliard.
George
Stephen
John C.
Gilliard.
Williams.
Thomas
Jonathan
Gilliard.
Williams.
George
Tracy
Lively.
Gilliard.
Lewis Williams.
Harry
Robert
Glover.
Neil Williams.
James
Henry
Glover.
Farley.
Paul
Thomas
Glover.
Williams.
Isaac David.
William
Wesley Williams.
Jeff
James
Thomas.
William Williams.
George
Alex
Lyson Williams.
Lander Gooden.
John
Samuel
Jacob
Williams.
Goodine.
Noah London.
John Brown.
David Long.
Joshua
Henry
Goodine.
Long,
Peter
Lindsey
Goodine.
Long,
Charles Wilson.
Edward
Henry
Goodine.
Charles C.
Loudon,
Wilson.
Prince Loving,
Abram Wilson.
James
Edward
Loving,
Gordon.
Enoch Wilson.
Louis
Abram
Loving,
George
Gordon.
W.
Charles
Wilson.
H.
Ming
Lucas,
Charles
James
Gordon.
H.
Gordon,
January
Kane,
Gordon. Monday Gordon.
William
Presley
Kane.
Gordon.
Louis Dinkin.
John Gore.
Campbell.
Solomon
Richard
Gore.
W.
Sam
Jack
Campbell.
Foreman.
Peter Malone,
Joe
Charlie
Campbell.
Malone,
Ishmael
Isaac
Gordon.
Mansfield, John Mansfield,
Jacob
Richard
Gordon.
Campbell.
Cicero Gordon.
George
George
Billy
Gordon.
North.
Louis
Bill
Gordon.
Canty.
Mike
Zachariah
Gordon.
Martin,
Nero
Charles
Gordon.
Marshall,
Peter Canty.
Adam Graham.
Bob Carway.
Daniel Graham.
William
Samuel
Isaac
Carr.
Graham.
Grayson.
Jesse
William
Edward
Carway.
Drayton, Jerry Martin,
Jack
John
Earl.
Martin,
Boyce.
Louis
James
Martin,
B.
Your
Carter.
service.
William
Henry
Carter.
Martin, Bill Mason,
Abram
Henry Mason,
Payson.
Darcy, L. Mason,
Frank
Henry
Causeway. Tony
Harvey
Champagne.
William
Mary Shadrach
George
Champion.
Mitten,
Samuel Ed. John Chandler.
Chadwick,
Naro Chandler.
Moses
Donald
May,
Robert
Eddings,
Chandler.
Isaac
Sam
Eddings,
Chandler.
Alfred
William
May,
Kennedy. James
Andrew
B. Chase.
Mayfield, Calvin May,
William B.
Joseph
Chase.
May,
Edmonds. Jim
Edgar May,
Chestnut.
Thomas McAdams,
Ruben Chestnut.
Dr. McClure,
Samuel
William
Clinton.
McConnell, James
Peter Cloud.
McCormick,
Jim
Washington
Dale Coakley.
Calvin
Caleb Coakley. Jim Coakley.
Daniel,
John Coakley.
John McDaniel,
London
Horace
Coakley.
McDaniel,
Waters
Charles
Coakley.
McElroy, Green
Dennis Sampson.
McElroy, Nelson
Colbert.
McElroy,
Fraser. Ben Colbert.
Wyatt
Fryer.
Dublin,
Edward
Dublin
Fryer.
Colbert, McIntyre,
Friday
McMahon,
Colbert.
Joseph
Richard
McGee,
Colbert.
James Magruder,
Solomon
John
Frierson.
McGuire, Isaac McMartin,
Waiters
Isaac
Colbert.
McMecken,
Moses Fryer. Guy
Isaac
Colburn.
Harris,
Nathan
John
Colby.
Frierson, Henry
Charles
Merriweather,
Code.
John
Frank
Merriweather,
Code. Ellison.
Robert
Burge Coldley.
Albert
Henry Cyrus Coldley.
Adam
Joe Fryer.
Miller,
Preston
Albert
Coakley.
Miller,
Massafers
Alfred Miller,
Fryer. Frank Code.
George Miller,
Frierson.
Milton
Abel
Miller,
Cole.
Samson
Colonel.
William
Boston Connor.
Aaron
Caesar.
Nolte,
Ben
John
Conner.
Minor,
Aaron
Charles
Bishop.
Cook.
Alexander Minor,
Cyrus Cook.
Ferguson.
Smith,
Francis
Samuel
Cookney.
Gaddis.
Aaron
John
Mitchell,
Coates.
Moses Mitchell,
Isaac
Wyatt
Norman.
Mitchell, Teeman
Arnold
Thomas
Bennett.
Day,
Caesar.
Malone,
Samuel
Ben
Ben
Colson.
Montgomery, Ben H.
Thomas
Billy
Grimm.
Brent Montgomery,
Joseph
James
William
Black.
Christie.
John H.
John
Montgomery,
Henry
Blackmore.
Kowalski.
Montgomery, Pius
James
Montgomery,
Krosky.
Alan Moore,
Henry
Dudley
Brookley.
Moore, George
Joseph
Moore,
Blakely.
George W. Moore, Marshall
Eric
Moore,
Cummins.
Joseph Moore,
Hudson
Head,
Cummins.
Anson
Eden
Blandon.
John P.
Morris.
Cummins.
Hales
Wesley
Blandon.
Moore,
Philip Cummins.
Anderson Morton,
Napoleon
Andrew
Bonaparte.
Morton,
Cy
John
Cummins.
Joseph
Dick
Morton,
Bunny.
Stephen
Fred
Cummins.
Moulton,
Louis
Benjamin
Cunningham.
Tucker.
Henry
Benjamin
Mike
Bonner.
Cunningham.
Lewis Moxley,
Tim
George
Tucker.
Nimrod
Mudd,
Curtis.
Ralph
Nat
Tuggle.
Insaw Boyd.
Oakland
Murray,
Dallas.
John Murray,
Turner.
Joe
Oakland
Boyd.
Dallas.
James Turner.
Jerry
Robert
Meyer,
Boyd.
Darkin.
Stephen Turner.
William
Boyd.
David.
Thomas.
Samuel Meyer,
Waiters
Anthony
Boyd.
Davis.
George
Neal,
W.
David
Tuckhead.
Henry
Boyd.
Davis.
Neal,
Thomas
David
Peter
Boyd.
Davis.
Tutsi.
Columbus
Prince
Neal,
David.
John
Boykin.
Tyler.
John
Robert
Nelson,
Robert
Major
Boykin.
Tyson.
George Newbolt,
Honor
Andy Boykin.
Urea.
Preston Newman,
Honor
Ishmael
Luce.
Boykin.
Asma
Lucia
Nichols, Charles
Bradford.
Nicholson,
Robert
Moses
Harrison
Knight,
Bradford.
Alexander
Joseph
Noble,
Bailey.
Samuel
James
Noble,
Bradford.
Edgar B.
Andy
Van
Knoll.
Joe
Winkle.
Bradford.
John
John
Norris,
Vanderhoek.
David
Bradford.
O'Neill,
Robert
Justice Oak,
Vandeland.
Thomas
Nelson
Offutt,
Bradford.
John
Alfred
Vandross.
Samuel
Ogden,
Bradford.
George Ogden,
Leonard
Isaac
Randy
Vandross.
Bradley.
Lee Ogilvy,
Joe
Taylor
Relford.
Beach.
Old
William
Stephen
George
Bedford.
Olden,
Taylor
William Ord,
Beach.
Solomon B.
Chester Wade.
William Osborne,
David Wade.
Osborne, Lewis
Edward Wade.
Overall,
Hope Wade.
Joseph Brandt.
James
Overhaul.
Wade.
Tony
George
Bryce.
Overfield,
Joshua Wade.
James
William
Brigham.
Lawrence Wade.
Charles Page,
Dick
Peter
Briggs.
Wade.
Israel Parrish,
Reuben
Wade.
John Parrish, Twyman Parrish,
Robert Wade.
Toby
Washington
Brisbane.
Parrish,
Wilson.
Samuel Wade.
Horace
Adam
Parker,
Britton.
Socrates
James
Wade.
Jane
Ben
Wilson.
Parrish,
Joseph
George
George
George Walker,
Brenton,
Jackson Walker,
Robert
Greenberg,
Patterson,
Solomon
Alex
Walker,
Brown,
Samuel,
Edward Wallace,
Brown,
Joseph Wallace,
Charles
Brown,
George Wally,
Ed Brown,
Trial Wall,
James
Walter
Peterson,
Thomas Walters,
Puppy Brown,
Riley,
George
Daniel Brown,
Sandy Stevens,
Winslow,
Dick Brown,
Andrew
Edwin Brown,
Fortune Stevens, Jack Stevens, John Stevens, New Year Stevens, Sanders Stevens, Thomas Stewart, Daniel Stewart, James Stewart, Peyton Stuball,
George Purdy,
Jesse Sewell,
Major
Jesse Stillwell,
Stephen Bryan,
Andrew Stokes,
Charles Buck,
Henry L. Stone,
George Buck,
George Strain, William Streety,
Burgess,
Peyton
Washington
Duball, Joseph
George
Clinton,
Berkman,
Joseph Talbot,
Adam Burns,
Peter Talbot,
Esau
Gabriel Hallwood, Frank Carlton,
Adam Kane,
Andrew Tarleton,
Carolina King,
Caesar Taylor, James Taylor, John Taylor, William H. Taylor, Gabriel Hallwood, Alfred Thomas,
William F.
Henry Thomas,
Anthony Ray, Elijah
Thomas,
Ezra
John Thomas,
Mac Richardson,
Charles S. Tillinghast,
Adam Richards,
Samuel Tobin,
Richie,
James
Wyatt
Palmer,
Howard,
Joseph
James,
Maury
Maya
Boa,
Austin,
Adam
Arnold
Benjamin
Tucker,
Roberts, James
Daniel
John
William
Samuel Roberts,
Tucker,
Daniel Roberts,
Randolph Tucker,
John Roberts,
Richard,
Samuel W. Roberts,
Edward,
Scott Roberts, Tom Roberts,
Lander
Washington
White,
all with the
Kristen Whitehead,
Robinson,
U.S.
Henry
George
White,
Rogers,
Whitehead,
Rogers,
Joe Whiteside,
Matt
Joseph Whiteside,
Ruben
Lonzo
Rome,
William Whitlock,
Stephen Rose,
Arthur Wiggins,
William
Daniel
Austin,
Wiley,
William Rowe,
Wilkins,
Logan Rawl,
Jacob Wilkinson,
Elijah
Henry Wilkinson,
Henry Roulette,
Moses
James
Wilkinson,
Roulette, Scott
Simon
Roulette, Silas
Wilkinson,
Roulette,
Samuel William,
William Roulette,
Stephen
Alfred
Williams,
George
Aaron
Jacob
William
Williams,
Russell,
Anthony Williams, Joe Williams, Andy Williams,
Aaron
Daniel Williams,
Henry
David Williams,
Elijah
Dr.
Sanders,
Williams,
Sanders,
Frank
John Sanders,
Williams, George W. Williams,
George
Harkless Williams, Henry Williams, James
Samuel Sayers,
Williams, John
George
Williams, John O. W. Williams,
Benjamin
John
Redd,
Scott,
Lovell Williams, Matt Williams, Owens Williams,
James
William
Wilson,
Sims,
Williams,
Henry
Samuel
Wilson,
Robert
Williams,
Sharp,
Virgil
Joseph Williams,
Williams,
Nathan
Warren
Leonard
Williams,
Wilson,
Wesley
Richard
Williams,
Clark
William
Samuel
Williams,
Charles
William
Sandy
Williamson,
Warner
Griffin
Wilson,
Willingham,
John Winfield,
Willingham,
John
Paul
Wingfield,
Willingham,
Levi Wisener,
Abram
William H.
Wilson,
Weiser,
Richards,
Levi
Edmund
Wisner,
Richards,
John
Joseph
Wolfons,
Richardson,
Joseph
Robert
L.
Riley,
Woodford,
William
Wolfons,
Riley,
Worthing,
Noah
Peter
Walton,
Riley,
Abraham Wright,
Thomas
Charles
Ward,
Daniel
Gary
Wright,
Warmock,
Richard Rivers,
Joseph
David
Warren,
Andrew
Benjamin
Rising,
Aaron
Washington,
George
George
Rising,
Wyatt,
Washington,
Robert
Henry
Benjamin Yeoman,
Washington, James
William
Butler
B.
Yeoman,
Washington,
Robert
Oliver
Robert,
Washington,
Frank
Henry
Andrew
Robert,
Yeoman,
Walters,
Alfred Roberts,
Jackal
Buck
Yeoman,
Waters,
Dallas Robert,
Daniel
Riley Joe
Waters,
Ephraim
Jerry
Roberts,
Waters,
William
Frank
Yeoman,
Moses Waters,
Dick Young,
Henry
Jesse
Roberts,
Henry
Watkins,
Young,
Jack
John
Roberts,
H.
Jackson Young,
Watrous,
Raymond Roberts,
James
Wales
Young,
R.
Solomon
Watson,
Roberts,
Peter
Alfred
Young,
Way,
Peter Toll,
Isaiah
Ira Young,
Way,
Wilkins,
Pompey
Washington
Way,
Young,
Hosea
Jacob
Weathers,
Youngblood,
Joseph Webster,
Robert,
Curtis,
Sam
Weed,
Michael,
Isaac A.
David
Roberts,
Joseph
Weed,
Edward
Morris,
Robert
Dr.
Adams,
Joshua
Weed,
Middleton,
John
Joseph
Robertson,
R.
Middleton,
Weed,
Richard
Samuel
Robertson,
Scipio
Weed,
Middleton,
Thad
Levi
Thomas
Wiesner,
Niles,
William
James
Welch,
Robertson,
Marlowe
Carolina
Wells,
Robinson,
Jim
James
Welsh,
Edward
James
Robinson,
John Miller,
Wentley,
Edward
Alan
Miller,
West,
Ed,
Edward
Thomas Miller Shannon,
West,
Edward
William
Charles
Robinson,
West,
Mills,
Hosea
Thomas
Weathers, Thomas
John
Wheeler,
Robinson,
William
Isaac
Wyatt,
Richard
Howard
Robinson,
White,
James Mitchell,
Robert
Isaac
Robinson,
White,
Simon Mitchell,
John
Simon
White,
William
Robinson,
Paul White,
Thomas
Mosef,
Robinson,
Henry
William
Moody,
Robertson,
Manuel Moody,
Simon Robinson,
Abe Moore,
Albert Rogers,
George W. Moore,
Warren Rogers,
John Moore,
Albert
Samuel
Rogers,
Williams, Isaac
Warren
Thomas
Williams,
Moore,
Rogers,
Isaiah Williams,
Robert
Amos,
Moran,
Tom
Amos,
Williams,
James
James
Moore,
Williams,
Rowans,
Jerry
Ben
Williams,
Moore,
Peter
Jesse
Rollins,
Williams,
Philip Moore,
Taylor
Alan
Williams,
S. Rose,
Solomon
Morrell,
Williams,
Harry
Daniel Williams,
Abraham Morgan,
John Willis,
Joseph Rose,
James Wilson,
Morgan,
Manuel
Robert
Wilson,
Dahl,
Morgan,
Richardson
Robert
Wilson,
Will
Willis
Morgan,
Wilson, William
Robert
Winks,
Rudolph,
John
William
Wise,
Theodore,
George Wivick,
Benjamin Morton,
John Wivick,
Joseph
Daniel
Wallace
Morton,
Wolf,
Alexander
Leonard Wood,
Sanders,
Antonio
Jack Wood,
Charles
Mosley,
Sanders,
George
John
Woods,
Joe
Cyrus
Moy,
Samuel
Sanders,
Woods,
Godfrey
Thomas
Moore,
Woods,
Sanders,
Milford
Alexander
Wright,
Mulligan,
Nicholas Wright,
Lawrence Monroe,
Markham
Sanders,
Ziggers,
William Murphy,
Khalil
Daniel
Dimmer,
Saul,
Wesley
John
Dimmer,
Sigma,
Charles
Erie
Sanders,
Demond,
Nelson
William
Napper,
Sanders,
Jack
Henry
Leese,
Francisco
Benjamin Nelson,
Charles Scott,
Francisco
Neptune
Seville,
Nelson,
Shadrach
Sam
Scott,
Harry
Shepard,
Neville,
Wilson
John Shirley,
Scott,
Charles Newton,
Solomon
Henry
Cyborg,
Morris
John
Newton,
Sidney,
Jacob,
Moses
Fowler,
Newton,
Taylor,
Henry
Paul
Schreiber,
Newton,
Mark
Ted,
Basil
Shadrach,
Nightingale,
Ishmael,
Charles Noble,
Shaw,
Richard
Tony
John,
Norman,
Shayla,
Edward Solomon,
Willis
George
John
Dupree,
George,
Jesse Oliver,
Joseph Simmons,
Louis
Richard
Oliver,
Joseph Shepard,
Nelson
Isaac Osborne,
William
Samuel
Sherman,
William Osborne,
Ned Sherwood,
George Owens,
Henry
John,
Singer,
Robert Owens,
Pierre
William
George Bailey,
Shirley,
Henry
Miles
Scott,
Anthony
Alfred
Shoemaker,
Prince
Caleb
Parker,
Henry P.
Charles
Shore,
Solomon Parker,
W.
Howard
Thomas
Simon,
Parker,
George
John
Simon,
Parsons,
Jacob Thorne,
Simon
Stephen
Parsons,
Simon,
Edward
James
Patrick,
Sinclair,
Moses Peacock,
Robert
Hero
Sinclair,
Peacock,
Charles
Reed
Singleton,
Penman,
Alice, Richard
Abraham
Black,
Henry
Peoples,
Browning,
Israel Slater,
Andrew Topper,
Charles Small,
Travis, Henry
John Small,
Benjamin Tusky,
Samuel
David
Small,
Blunt,
Ruskin George,
Thomas Smiley,
Squire Lee,
Aaron Smith,
William Lee,
Abraham Smith,
Allison Burnett,
Smith,
John Lee,
Peter Burnett,
Michael LeGrand,
Francis Burney,
Harry LeGrand,
Andrew Burns,
Daniel
Ira Burns,
Fleming,
Enoch,
Moses Burns,
Clinton,
Samuel Burns,
Flo,
George Burrell,
Richard,
Joseph Bush,
Copeland,
Aaron Butler,
David
Edward
Brutus Butler,
Thomas Levi,
London Butler,
Harry,
Major
Martin
Smith,
Butler,
Jacob,
Robert
George,
Smith,
Peter Butler,
Solomon
Lewis,
Smith,
Samuel Butler,
Brandon Smith,
Andrew Butzel,
Nathaniel D.
Right.
Abraham Campbell,
Solomon,
Cornelius
Samuel
Campbell,
Golding,
McCullough,
Edmund Campbell,
Golding,
Thomas Bragg,
Gadley Campbell,
William
Edward Kane, Riddick Carroll,
Fortune Stevens,
Ashley Carroll,
John Stevens,
Edward Carroll,
Here,
Frank Carroll, Tobias Carroll, William Carroll,
W. Maddox,
Joseph,
William Carter,
Edward,
Francis Carter,
Emmanuel,
Robert K.
Dillon,
Robert Cathon, Isaac C. Mullen, Major
Benjamin,
C.
Millen,
Thomas C.
Benjamin,
John Manuel,
Alex C.
Samuel,
Philip
James,
Minton,
Jack,
Job Chap,
James,
Lander
McClellan,
Choppin,
Scott,
Squire
Lellum,
Chapman,
Nelson,
John Shelton,
Melvin,
Alberto
John
Martinez,
Chavis,
Merchant,
Daniel
Chestnut,
Muse.
Major Martin.
Alan
Pompey.
Chestnut,
Henry
Muse.
Martin.
Henry Chestnut,
Ross Martin.
Alexander Child,
Alexander
Owen
Edward
Martin.
Clark,
Richard
Cyrus.
Martin.
Judge Clark,
Thomas
James.
Martin.
Gabriel
Michael.
Clay,
Robert Mason.
John.
Green
Craig.
Clay,
Louis Mason.
Peter.
John Matthews.
Samuel.
Stephen
Michael.
Allen. Crawford.
Dudley.
Robert
Mickle.
Matlock.
Hampton.
Daniel Maxwell.
Mickle.
Brian
Moses.
Maxwell.
Mickle.
Alfred
Nathan.
May.
Mickle.
Simon
Paul. Mickle.
Johnny McBride.
Richard.
William McBride.
Samuel.
James
Mickle.
McCall.
William.
John
Mickle.
McCall.
Peter. Middleton. Alexander. Miller.
James Anthony
Marcus.
McCall.
Miller.
Jacob
Golden.
McCall.
Miller.
Joe
Shirley.
McCall.
Dawson.
Jacob McCullough.
Brenda.
Smith. Abraham McCoon. Benjamin McCoon. Humphrey McDonald.
Thank you, sir.
Isaac
McKnight.
Henry McMichael. Philip McMichael.
Thomas
Edward McPherson.
Alan
George McWilliams. James Melton. Alex Melton.
Isaiah Murphy.
F.B. McNaught.
H.
O'Connor Merchant.
Robert
Charles Merritt. Mark Merriweather.
Martin Nelson.
Abraham Mescan.
Robert Nelson.
Alfred Mew.
Wayne Nesbitt.
Thornton.
Thomas Nichols. Israel
Joseph
Joseph Noble.
sorry.
That's okay.
Orrin Nolan.
Nero Garrett.
Ishman Knowles.
Garrett.
Stephen
Garrett.
Knowles.
Austin Gudley.
Asbury Knowles.
Daniel Kane.
Charles
Jerry
Oakley.
Kane.
Andy.
Thomas
Perry
J.
Carney.
Ogletree.
Thomas
Peter
Kelly.
Ogletree.
John Kelly.
Zed Olson.
Paul Kelly.
Oscar. Albert
William
Oscar.
Kennedy.
Charles
Charles
J.
Campbell.
Osborne.
Daniel
Isom Owen.
George King.
Jerry Owen.
Robert King.
Jordan
Cyrus
Owen.
Debo King.
Adam
Joseph
Francis
Owen.
Goodman.
Baz Nightingale.
Nazareth,
Charles
John
Pace.
Jacob Madison.
Pace.
Jerry Lance.
Robert
Henry
Edward Lane.
Newton,
James
David
Lane.
Parks.
James Lane.
Ratio
John Lang.
Matthew
Robert Latham.
Edmund,
Council Lawton.
Parks.
Winsor Lawton.
Hubert
Wilson Law.
Peter.
William
Jesse Lawrence.
Zip.
Monroe Lawrence.
George.
William Lawrence.
Oliver,
Aaron Lawson. Kelsey Lawson.
Ned Penny.
Harry Lawson.
Kit.
Howard Lawson.
Patrick Page,
Ism Lawson.
Perkins.
Seaborn
George
Lawson.
James,
Perkins.
Squire Lawson.
Iverson.
Kelsey Lawson.
Nathan
Dr. Lawson.
Perkins.
Jack Lawton.
Cedric
Jack
Perryman.
Lawton.
Parker,
Mingo
Alvin
Lawton.
Person.
Patrick Lawton.
Columbus
Franklin,
Person.
William Lawton.
George.
Windsor Lawson.
James,
Richard
Parker,
Phillips.
Love,
William
Monday,
Daniel
Parker,
Jenkins.
Thornton.
Samuel
George
Parker,
Jennings.
Josiah
Phillips Jennings.
Porch.
Hilton,
Esmond Gerard.
Polly.
Dana,
Goodwin
John
W. Jones.
Porter.
Thomas,
Benjamin Johnson.
William
Thompson,
Charles Johnson.
Henry.
Alfred, William
Daniel Johnson.
Edward
Edward Johnson.
Isaac
George.
Patterson,
Clay Johnson.
David Patterson,
Jack
Henry Johnson.
Powell.
Isaac
William
Johnson.
Powell.
Jacob Johnson.
Benjamin Price.
James Johnson.
Doc
James
Price.
W. B. Johnson.
Washington Price.
Joe Johnson.
Henry.
Joseph Johnson.
Henry.
Louis Johnson.
Franklin,
Jacob
Milo Johnson.
Bullis.
Peter Johnson.
Henderson Pye.
Riley Johnson.
Isaac Pye.
Robert Johnson.
Richard
Theodore Johnson.
William
Thomas Johnson.
Pye.
James W.
John
Alexander Jones.
Ratcliffe.
Charles
Stephen
Jones.
Thomas Tucker,
Cyrus
Charles
Jones.
Ramsey.
Daniel
Peter
Jones.
Marion
Ramsey.
Turk,
David Jones.
Charles Turner,
Frank Jones.
John H.
Franklin
Turner,
Jones.
John R.
Frederick
Turner,
Jones.
Francis
George
Peter Turner,
Jones.
Samuel
Henry
Turner,
Jones.
Travis Turner,
James Jones.
William Turney,
James M.
William
Jones.
Underwood,
Jonas Jones.
John H.
Samuel Jones. William
Henry
Jones.
Van Washington,
John Jordan.
Henry Vanyan,
Richard Josie.
Sidney Vicks,
Anthony
Henry
Kane.
Vincent,
William
Alan
H.
Vinny,
Taylor.
Gabriel Vinny, Samuel Vinny, Samuel Wordman, Andrew Wade, Benjamin Wade, Exum Wade, Frank Wade,
Harold Pope, Lewis Powell,
thank you,
Walter Powell,
Jacob Moore.
Washington Powell,
James Moore.
Ephraim
you.
John
Preston,
Moore.
try again.
Okay.
Edward Price,
Oh, yeah, okay.
Henry Price,
Okay. Hey,
Sapiro.
darling. Oh, my God. Come over here. Huh?
Samson.
Oh, please.
Okay, that should do it. If you hit the
Thomas
one, the circle in the bottom that says photo.
Benjamin
Okay.
Prickle.
Great. Oh, thank you.
Anthony Buckwell.
Yeah, would you?
Hume Quilt.
Got it?
Hampton
Yeah, that's okay.
Portabom.
Jacob Moore,
Andrew
James Moore,
Ebenezer
Reuben
Quick.
Moore, Jackson
Brandon.
Moreland,
Show I chose.
Nelson
Grandchildren.
Moses,
Right.
Andrew
Thank you.
Moss,
All right.
Thomas Ray.
Isaac
No, they have to
Moulton,
keep doing
Harry
this.
William
on.
Moulton,
Joseph
Thomas Moulton,
Archer
Alan
Raymond.
Murphy,
Oh, my.
Mary
Doc
Raymond.
Murphy,
We're not.
James
Isaiah
Raymond.
Murphy, John
Jackson
H.
Richardson,
Murphy,
George
Robert
Riddle,
Neal,
Handy Rouse, Thomas Rigger, Kings Road, James Roberts,
up. I said, wait a minute.
Peter Robin, Reuben Robin, Silas Roberts, Ferguson Robinson, James Robinson, James Robinson, Roland Robinson, Butler Robeson, James Robson, Joseph Rodwell,
All right.
Charles
Ready?
Rogers,
John
Prince
Patterson.
Rogers,
Caroline
Marcia
P. Austin
Rogers,
Pearson.
John Rowland,
George Petty.
Dallas Rose,
Thomas Petty.
Joseph Rose,
Sidney
Judson
Peoples.
Rose, Charles
Louis
Roseberg,
Pettigrew.
Alfred Rowe,
William Pfeiffer.
James Russell,
George Phillips.
Samuel Russell,
Thank you.
John Rouse, John Sampson, Isaac Sanders, Stephen Sanders, Arthur Sandy, Thomas Savagen, Sampson Lester, Alexander
Joseph
Scott,
Williams.
George
Joshua
Scott,
L. Williams.
Kit
May Williams.
Scott,
Philip
Smith
Williams.
Scott,
Richard Williams.
Cato
Samuel B. Williams.
Sergio,
Thomas
Hillard
Williams.
Sellers,
William
Benjamin
Williams.
Sellers,
Charles Wilmore.
George S. Shaw,
Isaiah Wilmore.
Joseph
Adam
Shaw,
D. Wilson.
Andrew
Alfred
Shadrach,
Charles
George
Wilson.
Seals,
Frisbee Wilson.
Elizabeth
George
Leggett,
Wilson.
Jay
Henry
Bonner,
Isaac Wilson. John Wilson. John A. Wilson.
John
M.
Clark,
Wilson.
Charles
W. Wilson.
Stone,
Joseph Wilson.
Ware,
Josiah
Ben
Wilson.
Allen,
Leander
Manuel Grant,
Nathan Wilson.
Manuel Irvin, James
Stephen
Grant,
Wilson.
James
Thomas
Hooper,
A. Wilson.
Marsha
Webster
Rogers,
Wilson.
Richardson
William
Wilson, Paul
Miles Winburn.
Benson,
Smith
Robert
Finder.
Evans,
John
Joshua Hill,
John Winton.
Jerry Martin,
John Wise.
Peter Michael,
Dexter G.
William
Woodard.
D.
Alfred
Sims,
Woods.
John
Martin
Washington,
Woods. Peter
Daniel
Woods.
Abel,
Robert Woods.
Abraham
Woodard.
Fletcher,
Daniel
Isaac
Wright.
Fletcher, Isaac
Henry
Best,
Wright.
David
Joseph
Blunt, Thomas Blunt, Andrew Boston, Allison Burnett, Joseph Bush, Peter Butler, William Carter, Alexis John Chavis, Harry Cody, Jacob Cody, Sambo Collington, Richard Kuhn, Isaac Crossley, Tom Crossley, Tony Crossley, Richard Davis, Charles Dole, Richard Al, Mars Evans, Thomas Fulton, John Gibson, Simmons Gibson, Peter Gaston, John Gibson.
I know.
All she did was oh yeah, the buffalo.
Can you do one?
You read already? I did. I read 2 pages.
Look, I might sit down.
Who's the people in the list? Who's like,
You did? I did. Thank you.
What's left?
Our person was
Okay.
Gerard. That gentleman right there in the blue. With the blue hat on. And the carrying on hat talking.
Oh, sitting down?
No, the one that's
That's a
talking
great
up with
picture.
the gray.
With the black hat.
Oh, you want your picture?
Oh, I got mine.
Thank you, love. I appreciate
I've seen you around at different events in D.C., of course.
William Shelton. William Shelton. Alfred Shepard. William Shepard. Alfred Ford. William Shepard. Jack Sherwood. George Shields. John Shivers. George A. Scholes. George Schote. Samson Schuler. Samson Schuyler. Fred Sigler. Cato Siglar. Alexander Sigler. Moses Sigler. Frank Simmons. Joseph Simmons. Lawrence Simmons. Thomas Simmons. Thomas Sims. William Sims. Frank Simons. Thomas Simons. John Singleton. Barry Smith. Calvin Smith. Charles Smith. Edward Smith. Francis Smith. Henry Smith. Hilliard Smith. Orrin Smith. Robert Smith. Thomas Smith. Tony Smith. Washington Smith. William Smith. April Snipes. Billis Solomon. Max Sosfier. Manton South. Fuller Spalding. Aaron Sparks.
But who's going to take a picture of it?
Yeah, somebody needs to.
Ask you about that. Andrew's eating.
When is somebody before we start?
Try to move over there so we'll be on TV.
I watch him so
That's where the camera is.
When we opened the Smithsonian Museum, Frank had a whole organization going here, a hub of everything. And so, the Smithsonian can hold a lot more, right? So we also want people to come here. And then we had the embassy. We had a whole bunch of celebrations around town. So we did 10 events. So we inspired them. That's great.
Okay. So I should talk to you. You ready? Let me see about my card.
Yeah.
Well, he's got it right here.
Someone said they're all.
Okay. Okay.
So these guys are who are they?
They're the Buffalo Soldiers out of Maryland.
Ready?
I wouldn't have guessed.
Okay. Which one? Where you go?
All the story of that?
Oh my God! How are you doing? Oh my God! Swan Albert. Swan Abbott. John Adams. Thomas Albertson. George Alexander. James Alexander.
Alexander
John
Madison.
Alexander.
Griffin
Louis Alexander.
Malachi.
Abraham
James
Allen.
Malone.
Jack Allen.
Samuel Manley.
James Allen.
Richard
John
Mansfield. Nelson
Henry
Manute.
Henderson.
George
Robert Henderson.
Marcellius. John
William Henderson.
Marion.
William
Duncan
Henderson.
Mars.
John Andrews.
Charles
Prince
Matthews.
Andrews. Thomas Andrews.
Abraham Mabry.
Sandy.
July Maynor.
Archer.
Sandy
Aberchet.
McAdams.
George
Claiborne
Isaac
McCabe.
Palmer.
Toby
Benjamin
McCarthy.
Armstrong.
Carol
David Armstrong.
McLaren.
Edward
Sidney
Armstrong.
McCloud.
Jonas Atkins.
Daniel McLaren. Jacob
Joseph Adams.
McLaren. Charles
Bailey.
McCullough.
Richard.
Oliver
John McCormick.
Bailey.
John
Sparks.
McCoy.
Robert
Nathan
Bailey.
McCoy.
George
James
Spearman.
McRaney.
Gilbert Baker.
Owen
David
John
McCrae.
Baker.
Charles.
John
David
Bailey.
McDaniel.
Henry
Edward
Spears.
Baltimore.
Andrew
Alan
McDaniel.
Bell.
Jacob
Anthony
Baltimore,
McDonald,
Ishak
Abraham
Spencer,
Banks,
Daniel McDowd,
Anderson Banks,
Charlie
Edward
Major
McElroy,
Banks,
Henry
Don
Philip
Ivy,
Banks,
McGee,
Wesley
Richard
Banks,
McGee,
James Barlow,
Warren
Stackhouse,
McGee,
Robert Barlin,
Harvey
William
McGill,
Barlow,
John Stackhouse,
George
Archie
McGinnis,
Barnes,
Robert
Stack,
Edward
McIntyre,
Barnes,
Frank
Benjamin
McKinney,
Barnett,
William Stanford,
Henderson
John
McKinney,
Barnett,
Franklin
Pilgrim
Stanford,
McRae,
Barnett,
William
Amos
M.
Lewis
Meadows,
Boris,
Savon
Michael
Macilia,
Charles Steedley,
James
Michael
Myshura,
Basie,
Martin
Steele,
Manone,
Stephen
Wilson
Basie,
Mercy,
Cato,
Gilbert
Washington
Basie,
Merrill,
Charles
James
Davis,
Mickey,
Louis Beatty,
Moses
Thomas
Middleton,
Ivy,
William
Beard,
Middleton,
Samuel
Edmund
Louis
Beasley,
Miles,
James
Victor
Phillips
Beasley,
Miles,
Willard
Aaron
Beasley,
Miller,
Theater Stokes,
J.M.
Austin
Beecher,
Miller, Matt
Charles
Warner,
Stokes,
Miller,
B. Hammond,
Jefferson
John Bell,
Theo Stokes,
Edwin
Cyrus
Milton,
Benjamin,
Charles
Robert
W.
Stone,
Milton, Henry
Henry
Minor,
Dennis,
David
Strange,
Edwin Benton,
Henry
Ralph
Edward
Strange,
John
Burton,
M.
Mitchell,
William
Henry
John
Prairie,
Shuffle,
Mitchell,
Mathis Byers,
Charles
Peter
Somerville,
Roy
Mitchell,
Beard,
Thomas
Daniel
Mitchell,
John
Callaway,
Phillips,
Molden,
Cyrus
Robert
Sutton,
Bingham,
Bowman, Reddy,
Anthony
Money,
Benjamin,
April
Mackenzie
Monroe,
Talbert,
Lewis Monroe,
Minor Bill,
Etienne
Henry
T.
Taylor,
Montgomery, Daniel
John
Moore,
Taylor,
Black,
Lewis Moore, Richard
Andy
Moore,
Washington
Thomas
Temple,
Moore,
Joseph
Washington
Blackwell,
Moore,
Ronald
Ambrose
John
Morgan,
Blake,
Daniel Mosley,
Carrie Blake,
John Moses,
Lee
Charles
Blake,
Myers,
William Bland,
Jesse Myrick,
Royal
Jackson
Blow,
Naylor,
William
John
Jackson
Nelson, William
Horace
Nelson,
Boardman,
Nelson,
Nicholas
Thomas
Boardman,
Newell,
Alfred
Franklin
Boatwright,
News, Henry
W.
Newton,
Boatwright,
Isaac Newton,
Peter Boatman,
Eli
Alexander
Knight,
Bowes, William
George
Bowles,
Nimbus,
John Boland,
Bass,
George Bones,
Trouble
William Boney,
George
Herbert
David
Pullman,
North,
Isaiah
Franklin
Northlet,
Bowen,
Jordan
Frederick
Moses
Bowen,
Jordan
William
Norton,
Henry
Henry
Vaughn,
Noes,
Joseph
Daniel
George
E.
Vaughn,
O'Neill, Samuel
Weiner,
Wayman,
Boyce,
Robert
Green
Ogden,
Boyd,
William
Henry
Ogden,
Boyd,
Samuel
Philip
Oglesby,
Boynton,
Alexander O'Neill,
Daniel Bradley, Robert
James
Bradley,
F. Organ,
Patrick
Oscar
Prince,
Orlean,
Levi
Samuel L.
Brass,
Orr,
Dennis
John
Brazil,
Osborne,
Isaac
Amos
Brody,
Owens,
Abraham
George
Brooks,
Owens,
Brigham Brooks,
Caesar Payne,
George Brooks,
Harrison
Henry
Payne,
Brooks,
Isom Payne,
Jarrett
Benjamin
Brooks,
Parker,
Jerry Brooks,
Clemens Parker,
John Brooks,
Edmund Parker,
John Brooks,
Lewis Parker,
Joseph
Powell
Brooks,
Parker,
Pompey
Richardson
Brooks,
Parks,
Salmon,
Daniel Payne,
Simon
Tobias
Brooks,
Payne,
William
George
Brooks,
Peaker,
Pryor
Nick
Broman,
Pearson, Edmund
Albert
Peck,
Brown,
Thayer
Alexander
Pemberton,
Brown,
Pemberton,
Anderson
Edwin
Brown,
Pendergast, Calvin
Brown,
Pennyfoot,
Clayton Brown,
Colin Penny Frost,
Cesar
Henry
Brown,
Perkins,
George
Jacob
Brown,
Perkins,
Glenn Brown,
Thomas Perkins,
James Brown,
John Perry,
James Brown,
Preston
John
Perry,
Brown,
Franklin
Monroe
Petaway,
Brown,
John
William
Peterson,
Brown,
John
William
Theon,
Brown,
John
Frank Bruner,
H. Phillips, Spencer William Phoenix,
George Bryant,
Jenny
Joseph Bryant,
Pierce, William
Peter
Pierce,
Bryant,
Peter
Nelson
Pearson,
Buckner,
Robert Pigot,
Dennis
Robert
Rutledge,
Pine, Louis Pinker,
Callie
Henry Pinckney,
Butler,
James Pinckney,
George Butler,
Dorsey Pleasant,
Joseph
John
Butler,
Polk,
Peter
Elias Porter,
Lumphreys,
Gabriel Powell, Henry
Charles
Powell, Isaac
Boyd,
Powell, James Powell,
Thomas Burt,
Albert
Joseph
Powers, Jack
Burton,
Powers,
Smart
Francis Peace,
David Barrows,
James Prince,
Aaron Butler,
Moses Prophet,
Alexander
Arthur
Butler,
Putnam, Monroe
Benjamin
Quincy,
Butler,
Thornton
Henry
Quinton,
Butler,
Henry Quirk, Minor Radley,
Henry
Hopkins
Butler,
Raleigh, George
Isham
Randall,
Butler,
George Randall,
Tony Butler,
George Randall,
Mathis
Cato
Bias,
Randolph, Andy
Joseph
Randolph,
Cato,
John Ransom,
Alabama Calhoun,
Moses
Wesley
Ransom,
Callinas,
Daniel
Stephen
Raskin,
Calloway,
Jackson
Franklin
Rollins,
Calvin,
Henry Reed,
James
Joseph
Calvin,
Reed, John H.
Bowen Calvin,
Oliver
Benjamin
K.
Cameron,
Reynolds, George
Benjamin
Rhodes,
Campbell,
Gabriel Richards,
John
Richard
Campbell,
Richards,
Edmund
Charles
Kennedy,
Richardson,
James Kennedy,
Patrick
James
Rickson,
Kennedy,
Kate
James
O'Reilly,
Carmody,
Wilbur Robertson,
Jason
Aaron
Carr,
Robinson,
Taylor
Albert
Carter,
Robinson, Edward
William
Robinson,
Carter,
Henry Robinson,
Wilson
Jackson
Carter,
Robinson,
Owen
Levi
Cartwright,
Robinson, Prince
Louis
Robinson,
Cass,
Reeson
Philip Casson,
Robinson, Shem
Aaron
Robinson,
Payton,
Wallace
William
Robinson,
Chapman,
Werther Robinson,
Levi,
Wilbur Robinson,
Shari,
William
Alonzo
Robinson,
Chase,
York
James
Robinson,
Childers,
Edward Robinson,
Abram
Benjamin
Clark,
Rogers,
Edmund Clark,
Andrew
Frederick
Rohella,
Jefferson Clark, John
Litz
F. Clark,
Rose,
Madison
Marshall
Clark,
Ross,
Morris Clark,
Robert Ross,
Tanner,
Shelby
Turner
Ross,
Clark,
Edward Ross,
Walker Clark,
Henry
Washington Clark,
Rosen, Albert
Washington
Rush,
Clark,
William
Frederick
Rush Hush,
Clark,
Robert
John
Russell,
Clark,
Hezekiah Samuel,
Edmund Clay,
Isaiah Sanders,
Henry Clay,
Morton Sanders,
Adam Klein,
Newton Sanders,
Louis
Kane,
Cloud,
Sartain,
Milton Cloud,
Kane,
George
Sartian,
Powers,
Hezekiah
George
Saunders,
Coates,
Isaiah Saunders,
Bob
James
Coffey,
Saunders,
David
Albert
Coffey,
Scott, Alexander
Simon
Scott,
Cole,
Jefferson
Louis
Scott,
Coleman,
Melvin
Samuel
Scott,
Coleman,
Monroe
Spencer
Scott,
Coleman,
Paul Scott,
Thomas
William
Coleman,
Scott, Sylvester
Frederick
Scudder,
Collinberg,
George C.,
Thomas
Abner
Collins,
N.C.,
Wesley
Morris
Collins,
Savelle,
Wesley Collins,
John Shadrick,
Fleming
Peter
Coleman,
Shadrick, Paul
George
Shanks,
Compton,
Tony Sharp,
James Kennedy,
August Shellyan,
Edwin
Charles
Cook,
Shepard,
Peter Cook,
Charles Shepard, Harrison
C.
Shepard,
Cooper,
Franklin Sherlock,
Ruben Colvin,
August
John
Chavalan, Augustus
Colton,
Chevian,
Cash
August
Cotton,
Chevian,
Peter Cotton,
Andrew Shields,
Frederick
Harrison
County,
Shields, Jacob
Thomas
Shields, James
County,
Shields,
Warren
Nathan
County,
Shields, Philip
Taylor
Chanel,
Cowers,
Anthony
Robert
Shorter,
Cox,
Enos Shorter,
James S.
John
Crane,
Schrage, Benjamin
W. Crane,
Siggrave,
Jesse
Wiley Signor,
Crossland,
Harry
William
Simmons,
Cross,
Daniel Simpson,
James
Jefferson
Foran,
Singleton,
John
John
Crowther,
Singleton, Miles
Robert
Black,
Crowther,
James Smiley,
Wade,
Peter Smiley, Aaron
Crockfield,
M. Smith, Alan
Frank
Smith,
Cuba,
Edward Smith,
John
Frank Smith, George
Cubbins,
Smith, H.M. Smith,
Alfred
Harry
Curtis,
Smith, Jackson
Arthur
Smith, James
Curtis,
Smith, John
Richard
Smith,
Curtis,
John H.
Curtis,
Smith, John
Willis
P.
Curtis,
Smith, Joseph
Charles
Smith,
A.
Lewis
Cutler,
Smith, Patton Smith,
Edmund
Ransom
Dancer,
Smith, Sandy
Alfred
Smith,
Daniel,
Shedrick Smith,
Jerry
Simon
Dahl,
N. Smith,
Edward
William Smith,
Davenport,
Adam
Dennis
Snyder,
David,
John Spencer,
King
John
David,
S. Spencer,
Alan
Thomas
Davis,
Spinks, Andrew
Dennis
Spurlock,
Davis,
Charles
Edmund
Spurlock,
Davis,
Franklin
Davis,
Spurlock,
Elias
Solomon Spurlock,
Davis, Peter
James St. Clair, John Stack,
Shelby
Edmund
Davis,
Stamper,
Uriah
Jacob Stanley,
Davis, Francis
Levi
Davidson,
Stanley, Thomas
Charles
Stanton,
Dawson,
Preston
Thomas
L.
Dawson,
Stevens,
Henry Day,
Maston Stewart,
John D.
Duncan
DeWitt,
Stewart,
Samuel Dean, Thomas
Maston
Dean,
Stewart, William Stewart,
Dean,
George
Louis,
Stratman,
the lady,
Alexander Straw,
John A.
Joseph
Damari,
Straw, Thornton
Calvin
Straw,
Denton,
Andrew Strother,
Linus
Lemon
DeVore,
Strickland, Duncan Stewart,
Gillis,
Samuel Suggs,
Diggs,
Alexander
Levi
Swangen,
Dixon,
Alexander
William
Swanger,
Dixon,
Alexander Sweat,
Spencer
Michael
Donald,
Swift, James
Benjamin
Tate,
Doris,
Willis
John
Taylor,
Doyle,
Anderson Taylor,
William
Daniel
Fowler,
Taylor, Edward
George
Taylor, Perry
Francis,
Taylor,
Henry
Stephen Taylor,
Doran,
Willis Taylor,
John W.
John Terrell,
John
Henry
Francis,
Thomas,
Ballard C. Earl,
Johnson Thomas, Lewis
Andrew
Thomas, Lloyd
Easton,
Thomas, Nathan
Frank
Thomas,
Easton,
Reuben Thomas,
Jonas
William
Edmund,
Thomas,
George
Alfred
Edwards, James
Thompson,
Edward,
Calvin
John Edwards,
Thompson,
William Edwards,
Claiborne,
Henry
Thompson,
Elodie,
Elbert Thompson,
Henry Franklin,
John
Henry
Thompson,
Franklin,
That's my
Jonathan
James
Thompson,
Ellie Franklin,
Matthew
Ellis, Thomas
Thompson,
Ellis, William
Napoleon
Ellis,
Thompson,
Jones M.
Solomon
Alexander
Thompson,
Elias
Enoch,
Andrew
Isaac
Frazier,
English,
Nathan
Andrew
Stephen
Kim,
English,
Henry
Richard
Charles
Culver,
Enos,
Edward
Edward
Toller,
John
Noel
Anthony
Tomlinson,
Evans,
Anthony
Isaac
Tony,
Evans,
Fields,
John Evans,
Toy,
Smith
Thomas
Evans,
D.
Mac
Toy,
Everson,
Henry
Samuel
Travis,
Mac
Alexander
Everson,
Frazier,
Wallace
James
Eagle,
Treadway,
Charlotte
Douglas
Fagan,
Trigg,
Alice
Edward
Duncan
Freeman,
Taylor,
Peter
Richard
Tricey,
Weldon,
William
Henry
Tucker,
Carmen,
Joe Turner,
Loudon
Lazarus
Fisher,
Turner,
Freeman,
Wesley
Robert
Fisher,
Turner, Thomas
Edward
William
Turner,
Fletcher,
Alexander
Edwin
John
Tonkin,
J. Fletcher,
John
Edwin A.
Tyler,
Freeman,
Charles
Butch
M.
Freeman,
Ford,
Alexander
George
John
Forbush,
Wade,
Bradford
Samuel Wade,
Ford,
Bonnie
Madison
Walker,
Ford,
Horatio
Monroe
Walker,
Ford, Thomas
John
Ford,
Walker,
John
Henry
Ford,
S. Freeman,
Samuel
Benjamin
Walker,
Franklin,
Horace B.
Chris
Freeman,
Daniel
Fraser,
Sanders
F.
Walker,
Freeman,
Thornton
Thomas
Walker,
H.
Fraser,
Freeman,
Charles
Clement
Wallace,
Frederick,
William
John
Wallace,
Freeman,
John A.
James
Fetterman,
Waller,
Joseph
Anthony
H. S.
Ward,
Terry French,
Clay
Julius
Warren
Porter,
French,
Daniel
Louis
Washington,
Gray,
George
Jacob
Washington,
Fulkerson,
Lee
Louis
Washington,
Fuff, Abner
Caleb Washington,
Furlock,
Sylvester
Pounds
Freeman,
Washington,
Sylvester L.
William
Anthony
Freeman,
Gaines,
Sylvester Sheep,
Frank
Charles
Waters,
James,
Sylvester G.
Caleb
Elijah
A. Watkins,
James,
William H.
Callian
Freeman,
Hart,
Watson,
William
Gillian,
W.
James
Freeman,
B.
Andy
Watson,
Gardner,
French,
Solomon
Watson,
Gardner,
Watson,
Frontville,
Thomas Gardner,
William
John
Watson,
Troy Gardner,
John A.
Weatherby,
Wesley Gardner,
James
Benjamin
Webb,
Aaron Gold,
Lloyd
John
Webster,
Gold,
George
Robert
James
Wells,
Gavitt,
Fuller,
James
William
W. Wells,
Gahill,
Jerry
Miley
Hill,
Wells,
Samuel
Gardner,
James
Gelton,
Wembley,
Daniel
William A.
John
Gephardt,
Wesley,
Jeremiah
Thomas
Charles
Weatherston,
Gibson,
William
John
David
Gibson,
Swift,
Harvey
Frederick
Gilbert,
White,
Gardner,
Rosamund
Gilbert,
I. White, William
Robert
White,
Gabrit,
Benjamin
Robert
S.
Pierce
Whiting,
Gilliman,
Gary
Charles
George
Gilmore,
Whiting,
Jarrett
William
Gilmer,
White,
Alan Givens,
Horace
Cyrus
Whitney,
Givens,
James
Isaac
W.
Marshall,
Whitaker,
Glass
Samuel
Hawk,
Wycliffe,
Mitchell
Charles
Glover,
Harold
H.
Wilkins,
Thomas
Strother
Charles A.
Wilson,
Godbort,
John
Anthony
Wilkinson,
Godboat,
Alfred
Thomas
Williams,
Garbut,
George
Azina
Thomas
Williams,
Gartuff,
Charles
James
Williams,
Peter
David Williams,
Newton,
Eli Williams,
Herbert
Paul
Goodrich,
Williams,
Daniel
Henry
Louis
Williams,
Garden,
Isaac Williams,
Richard
Jackson
Garden,
Williams, Jacob Williams,
Richard
Peter
James
Garden,
Williams, Monday
John Garden,
Williams,
Samuel
Nassau
Garden,
Williams, Perry J.
Ford,
Williams,
Charles,
Sam Williams,
Robert A.
Sandy
Benjamin
Williams,
Gosselin,
Simon Williams,
Edward
Sylvester Williams,
Grambrock,
William
Thomas
John
Williams,
Granison,
Andrew W.
Harrison
Williams'
Grant,
son,
Jeremiah
Andrew
Coffey,
Willis,
Milton
John
Grant,
Willis,
William
Alexander
Grant,
Wilson,
Harry
Alfred
Granton,
Wilson, Douglas
Stephen
Wilson,
Granton,
Drew
James
Wilson,
Grayson,
George Wilson,
Bartlett
James
Reeves,
Wilson,
Carter
Martin
Green,
Wilson, Peter
Gideon
Wilson,
Green,
William
Henry
Wilson,
Green, Henry
King
Green,
Winchester,
Linton
Jacob
Green,
Winifred,
Moses Green,
Daniel
Philip
Wise,
Green,
William
Robert
Wise,
Green,
John
Thornton
Woodard,
Green, Washington
York
Green,
Woods, David
William
Wright,
Green,
Selah
John
G.
Greenlee,
Wright,
Miles
David
Gregory,
Wyatt,
Jesse Griffin,
Alan Yates,
Thomas
Edward
Grigg,
Yates,
George
Morris
Grigger,
Yeoman,
Miles
Andy York,
Grigger,
Anderson
Thomas Gardner,
Young,
Samuel
Frank
M. Guest,
Young,
T.J.
Robert
Hackett,
Young,
Robert Hatton,
Samuel
Alexander
Young,
Hagan, Henry
70th
Hagan, Washington
U.S. Colored
Haynes,
Infantry Regiment.
Gideon Hale. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right there on the corner. Okay, man. You leaving? Yeah. All right. I'll see you later. All right, take care. All right, thank you, man. See, I can't get this side over here. Oh, yes, I can. That's all the names? Hey, can I take a picture with you, man? Yeah. Here.
You want it to scotch you?
Yeah, but it's hard. Yeah, we can take it right here. Oh, you might be able to take it right here. Right here.
Oh, with the one with the sun?
Yeah, because of the sun. How about here? Okay.
Michael Basie.
Okay. No, I'm going to say my names. Okay. You ready? Uh-huh. Okay. Claiborne Thompson, John Thompson, Jonathan Thompson, Madison Ford, Monroe Ford, Bradford Ford, Jordan Norton,
Alfred Thompson, Elbert Thompson, 70th U.S. Colored Infantry.
Michael Basie, Senior, 70 and 71st Regiment.
John Middleton, 34th Colored Infantry, my great-great-great-grandfather, South Carolina, served 3 years, field musician. This is the way.
They got them right together, too.